Can we come back from this? I'll try. I'll definitely try. Let's bounce Doubt Void Walker here. Can we come back from this? Let's see. Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. This is MahfuzVanGogh, your Dredge guy. And today we are back to Legacy. I'm about to start the Legacy Showcase Challenge, one of the most important Legacy challenges that we have on Magic Online. This is a tournament that qualifies the top 8 players to a Legacy Qualifier Showcase. I think that's the name. I never got this before, so fingers crossed here. But this is a really competitive tournament, hundreds of players trying to hit that top 8 to qualify for the next great important tournament. Even if you don't qualify, even if you don't get a top 8, last year I got a top 16, the prizes are really good. And this is, of course, you already know this deck, right? This is Turbo Satoru Dredge 4.5. This is the most recent build. This is super similar to what I played the last few months, 2024. Only small changes in the sideboard. So I'm not get into the whole explanation here, but this for me has been the most consistent and competitive Dredge deck in Legacy. We have even basic lands, so we can play around Wasteland. We have great enablers, including 8 flashback spells. If you are used to play Modern, if you play Modern Dredge, you'll see many cards that you already have Modern Dredge, like Cephalid Breakfast. It was included this last year, and also Faithless Looting, also Unbanned, and Otherworldly Gaze is a success in Modern Dredge. But now we have the better Dredgers. We have Guerra, we have Bridge from Below, we have Poxwalkers entering the battlefield, so we can create many zombies, sometimes with haste, thanks to Anger. We also have Ox of Agonas, Cabal Therapy, Narcomoebus, and also a combo finish with Thassa's Oracle. The sideboard, not that many surprises here. Shenanigans, of course, it may be a surprise for you, because Shenanigans is not the greatest card printed for Dredge, right? But it has been good in leagues against Delver decks with Gravedigger's Cage, especially because we have access to basic lands. Shenanigans is our best bet against decks with 2 Gravedigger's Cage, so you don't need to mulligan until you find an answer to Artifact just to be countered because your opponent is a blue deck. Shenanigans is a card that you can play again, cast it again until it resolves, and you can finally win the game with your combo or with hasty zombies. And also Silent Gravestone here. I would like, I've been thinking about re-including one or even 2 Silent Gravestones. It was a huge success in this deck in the sideboard against the blue-black Reanimator with Psychic Frog from last year. But after Psychic Frog being banned, I started using only 2 instead of 3 or even 4. But Silent Gravestone is always good. Of course, if we include Silent Gravestone in our deck, we need to take the combo with Dredge Return. Dredge Return needs to be sided out, of course, because we cannot keep both cards in the same deck. Sometimes you can, but whatever you find first, you follow that path. And the Line of the Void, of course. Consign to Memory is just a super flexible card. Let's go. The tournament is about to start. Let's go right now. Click the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below. It will be a 9 rounds tournament. Maybe more if I get into the top 8. Let's see. Let's hope for the best. Round 1. We are paired against alexeezayyy, and we are on the play. Oh, almost good. But the basic mountain is not the best. Okay, this is so much better. This can be a turn 1, guys. This has the potential to be a turn 1. The previous hand would be really good if the mountain was a fetch land or a volcanic. But this is so much better. We cannot even compare this hand to the previous one. So let's skip this, putting Narcomoeba back on the bottom. And we'll start with LED. Let's see if my opponent has a counterspell. Oh, okay. Now my second LED and Volcanic Island, so we can have haste if we can win on turn 1. Let's hold priority here. Crack LED for red mana in response. So Dredge 5, Dredge 6. Oh, no lootings, no Ox. We have an Otherworldly Gaze. Now what? If this Otherworldly Gaze, if we crack LED to resolve Otherworldly Gaze here, and if we find Faithless Looting or Ox, we'll win the game. I think I'll go for it, guys. Let's play aggressively here, since my opponent doesn't have counterspells. Okay, we couldn't find what we needed, but Cephalid Breakfast is absolutely what we need for next turn. So we'll not have a turn 1, but maybe a turn 2. Please, no Wastelands. No Wastelands, opponent. My opponent Wastelands me here. I will just Dredge 6, of course. and then we can win the game as soon as we find an Arcomoeba. Let's remember that we have a Cephalid Coliseum on top. Sometimes I get too excited with the gameplay and just go dredging because dredging for business. But since I introduced Otherworldly Gaze to Legacy Dredge, this has consistently been... Oh, Banana Next. Okay, this is a Forge. Okay, we will win this, guys. We can win. Forge is one of the worst matchups for us, but my opponent kept turn 2, and we were on the play. So let's dredge N6 again. We have Anger, great. Oh, we have Ox there, we have a Dredge Return, we have Narco. Yeah, we have the win. Satoru, yeah. Whew. In case you're new to this game, to Legacy Satoru Turbo Dredge, I will show you. Let's put on a clinic here. So I'm getting Poxwalkers back, triggering bridges. So we have 2 zombies, haste, and 2 tapped Poxwalkers. I can name whatever I want here. I bet my opponent doesn't have instant interaction, so we'll win anyways. Cabal Therapy here is more tool to create zombies than anything else. But my opponent is thinking maybe they don't want to reveal their hand. And after that, I will just cast Dredge Return, returning Satoru or Ox. Thassa's Oracle is already there, and we will win with hasty zombies, but also Thassa's Oracle. We can just choose the path to win the game. My opponent is thinking here, maybe they don't want to reveal their hand, but I know this is just a Mystic Forge combo. Yeah, my opponent conceded just to hide information. Maybe this is a different build. So against Mystic Forge, some Forge decks try to use Leyline, but these days Leyline of the Void is not the best card in a Forge deck, and I think my opponent will not mulligan aggressively trying to hit Leyline of the Void if they have a Leyline when being on the play. So maybe I can include Shenanigans, but I think Shenanigans is just too slow against this deck, unless they have something like Ensnaring Bridge. Even if they have Ensnaring Bridge or the One Ring, we can win with Satoru and Thassa's Oracle. Let's see, one Otherworldly Gaze and 1 Poxwalkers is fine, maybe 2 if I want Consigns. Maybe I can keep 1 Shenanigans just to test it. But I'm not confident on Shenanigans, unless my opponent has a Prison artifact, like I said, and we have a Shenanigans really early in the game. Because this opponent can win out of nowhere, just top decking a card or something like that. So Shenanigans is here more to fight Gravedigger's Cage, but maybe Painter. Okay, this hand is a mulligan, almost there. I would prefer something better than that, but we can try. Let's keep it. Hopefully this Careful Study will be good to us and my opponent doesn't have a fast kill. Maybe they have a turn 2 the One Ring, for example, and then we can win the game against the One Ring. Oh, Candelabra. My opponent has another Soul Land. This will... Oh, Narcomoeba is the worst draw in our entire deck. Maybe, guys, the right move here is just casting Cabal Therapy targeting my opponent. Because if they have a Karn, for example, the game is over. Let's name Karn the Great Creator, and next turn we can do that again, if needed. Oh, they had a card, and also Glaring Flash Wrecker. This is not the worst. My opponent has a Flash Wrecker, but nothing else. They need to top deck something. They have tons of mana, but nothing to do with that mana yet. Resist Tower. Okay, my opponent has something else. He did draw something else. Tapped Tower, tapped again. Has Flash Wrecker. Oh, and the key. Okay, my opponent didn't need to use Candelabra, I guess. But we know they have only 2 lands. Alright, so we draw our best treasure, okay, but we need more enablers here. Faithless Looting will be sensational. Cephalid Coliseum for next turn, okay. So we discard both treasures. Let's hope that my opponent doesn't top deck something. Let's hide our information. We don't need to reveal Cephalid Coliseum yet. My opponent needs to top deck something again. If they draw a land, we are favored to win this game. Oh, they have something else. What now? The One Ring, okay. Oh, they can tap the One Ring and draw extra cards. So they will draw 3 extra cards this turn. They have mana, they have Candelabra. They can cast whatever they draw. If they draw only lands, we have a shot. Okay, what do they have? This is Karn, it's game over. This is Kozilek's Command, is also bad. Okay, tons of mana. They decided to tap the One Ring again for making more decisions. 6 mana, another the One Ring. Ooh. That's not the worst, guys. That's not the worst. We can win against the One Ring. We have a Thassa's Oracle in our deck. Okay, they have a second key. They can tap the One Ring again, draw extra cards. They have something else for mana and Karn. Okay, the game is over. Ooh, this was a good sequence. The One Ring into the One Ring into second key into Karn the same turn. And now my opponent has Termidor script. We can come back, let's concede and go to the next game. Being on the play, we can think about maybe we can play without sideboarding at all. 2 consigns to memory, I think are good to keep because sometimes you have a good hand with Otherworldly Gaze, LED, good lands, no dredgers, and a consign to memory. And in my previous experience with this deck, when you have a consign to memory in your starting hand and also Otherworldly Gaze and LED, good lands, this is a keep because you can counter your opponent's first large spell like Karn or the One Ring, and then you'll find your Dredger at instant speed, and then you'll win the game next turn. Of course, only 2 copies of Consent to Memory, because I will not mulligan aggressively trying to find a counterspell. But it is a good card. Okay, this is a mulligan. Oh, this is not the hand that I wanted to keep. Can we keep that? I think we deserve better. Turn 1, consign or overload the gaze, and then we need to draw so many cards. We have 4 cards in our hand that we would prefer to have in our deck. Let's mulligan hit this. Okay, this can be a turn 1. Let's keep. And we can even shuffle back Bridge and Arco, so they will not be on the bottom of our deck. Let's start with Scouting turn. Volcanic Island. My opponent doesn't play Wastelands. LED. My opponent kept 7 cards. Let's hope for no Fairy Macabres or something. So we'll crack LED. Let's see if my opponent has an answer. No answers, alright. So Dredge 5. Oh, Ox is good. Dredge 4. So maybe we need to exile something good here, but I don't care. We have Ox and Poxwalkers and Dredgers. Oh, we have several cards that are not useful, right? We have artifacts, spells, lands. Yeah, let's exile them. Yeah, we're not exiling anything useful here. Poxwalkers enters the battlefield. We have 3 Dredgers. If we find a Bridge from Below, Cabal Therapy on Dredge return, the game is ours. So Dredge 5, Bridge from Below is there. Cabal Therapy is there. Dredge 6, another Therapy. We don't have Dredge return, but we can have a bunch of zombies here because of anger. Let's see what my opponent has first. Have another Cabal Therapy. So let's name the One Ring. A 2 Kozilek's Command. If we had Dredge return, I would play this differently, but now we need to deal damage, maximum damage here on turn 1, and then win through attacking next turn. So I will not even name Kozilek's Command, guys. Glaring Flashraker is the most scary card in this situation here. My opponent doesn't have ways to cast a Kozilek's Command next turn, but Glaring Flashraker can create blockers, and we will win next turn. Opponent is down to 6. Okay, and they conceded the match. Oof. Okay, we started with win, the bang. Let's go to our second match. I want to say thank you to all my patrons that you can see here on this page. Guys, you are awesome, and I can create content because of your continuous support. If you also want to help me as a content creator, please go there, check my Patreon page, patreon.com/thedredgeguy. See you there. Alright, round 2, we are paired against May 0024. I will keep this hand on the draw. My opponent has a Flooded Strand. I have a solid turn 2 or turn 3 win here. My opponent has Tundra and Pounder, and Shuffling, so this is not a fast start. This is a control deck. Another land is solid. Let's grab our Underground Sea here and cast Cabal Therapy targeting ourselves. Just discarding our Grave Troll, especially because this is a white deck. Oh, my opponent has Daze. That's fine. We can do that again next turn. Now we have access to 3 lands, so that's even better. Opponent replays Tundra. Oh, Nomads and Core. So this is Breakfast. We can lose this game next turn. Okay. I don't think my opponent has the combo, because if they had the combo, maybe Daze wasn't the best play there. So let's grab our Volcanic Island here. I'll cast Narcomoeba, but I'll say let's do our own thing, right? My opponent had a Pounder plus Shuffling the deck last turn, so I'll guess they don't have Grave Troll. They don't have the combo yet. Of course, they can always top deck the combo, but let's not play around that. Okay, Brainstorm, they don't have the combo yet. Maybe they don't have the second land. Maybe this was the reason behind that shuffle. Okay, they play Misty and attack. And now we can crack Cephalid Breakfast and cast Breakthrough. Let's chain Dredgers. Dredge 6. Okay, we have a Dredge 6 there. Narcomoeba enters the battlefield. Let's see who is the best Thassa's Oracle deck. We'll crack Cephalid Breakfast. Dredge 6. Dredge 5. Okay, we draw. Oh, we draw LED. Okay, we have this. We have this on the back. This was not a fair comparison because my opponent is a dedicated Thassa's Oracle deck. Of course, they are the best Thassa's Oracle deck. We have the combo finish, but my opponent's deck is more consistent achieving that combo finish. So let's see what they have before, because we'll definitely win the game here. Don't need to... What to name? Maybe a second Brainstorm or Force of Will? Force of Will. I don't think my opponent has a second Brainstorm. Okay, they had a Force of Will and Nadu and Urza Saga. Okay, guys, let's win. Natu. Hold priority. And we crack LED for 3 red mana. Dredge 6, and Dredge 5. And one more Dredge, Dredge 5 again. Should we win with Thassa's Oracle? Oh, my opponent conceded before that. Alright, it's understandable. So let's do our sideboard. Being on the draw, I like to be more defensive against Cephalid Breakfast, because they can just have A plus B and win on turn 2, and we don't have counter spells. Of course, we can win on turn 1, but this is not the most safe thing to achieve. Of course, sometimes we have a turn 1 win, but we will not try to mulligan aggressively to a turn 1 win against a deck with counter spells. So Silent Gravestone and Leyline of the Void are good. Silent Gravestone is especially good against Cephalid Breakfast, and if Cephalid Breakfast comes back stronger, we're not seeing that many Nadu decks lately, But if we see them again, I can include 3 or maybe 4 Silent Gravestones this sideboard, as I did last year when Nadu was released. Okay, let's take the combo. I will keep 1 Dredge Return in the deck. I don't want to take too many enablers from the deck. Okay, on the draw. We are on the draw. Let's try like that. I like to keep 1 Dredge Return here, since we have only 2 Gravestones, because if you don't have a Gravestone on our starting hand, Dredge Return is amazing. We can win the game. Okay, we have Silent Gravestone, but this is not a keep, unfortunately. But maybe we can keep that. We have Silent Gravestone. Let's keep that, because we are on the draw. So we can have a Silent Gravestone here. Maybe we top deck a land or LED, and then we can win on turn 2 with Cabal Therapy plus Breakthrough. Oh, my opponent is going down to 3. They have Leilani of the Void to 2. If they have Leilani of the Void, they can win this game because we did 2-1. My opponent conceded. Dredge, too strong, too strong. We won our second match. This was fast. Let's go. Round 3. We are paired against Azerat. Oh, a Doomsday. This player plays Doomsday. I remember them. Okay, and this is a mulligan. We don't have land. Can we keep that on the draw? We have so many good draws that can solve this hand. Any land, any LED, any blue enabler. This is half of our deck. Let's keep it. We are on the draw. Because this hand has so much potential. We only need to draw something. We could even just play LED around days and then crack it for Faithless Loot, something that we can do. My opponent starts with Spirit Wraith. They also had a mulligan to Underground Sea. Please, no Thoughtseize. Okay, Ponder. Ponder is fine. Shuffling in the deck. Alright. A good draw, please. Otherworldly Gaze. Yeah. I mentioned, right? A blue enabler would solve this hand. LED is in play. Let's cast Otherworldly Gaze here and see if we have something good on top. A land would be excellent. Okay, not a land. I think I'll put everything into my graveyard and have a natural draw next turn. Even Poxwalkers is good next turn because at least we'll have a Cabal Therapy after. We could keep Otherworldly Gaze on top, but I think yeah, this is Doomsday. I don't think we have the time for it. We can crack LED to cast Otherworldly Gaze. We can even cast both Otherworldly Gazes next turn with LED plus Island. If we don't have a land or Breakthrough or Careful Study on top or LED, we miss. This is something that we can do. My opponent draws, plays an island. Consider. Okay, you can consider, my friend. Consider everything you want. Don't want days. Draw a card and pass the turn. Right. So this was a slow start for my opponent. Maybe they already have a Doomsday, but they need a Dark Ritual. I will draw. Oh, Grave draw. Okay, guys, I will not wait anymore. I think my opponent, after all this card selection, I think my opponent has Force of Will. So let's try to resolve Faithless Looting, but I'm not confident. Oh, Brainstorm. Maybe they don't have Force. Maybe they only have another Daze. They need Force of Will here. Oh, they have 3 cards in their hand. They had a Daze. Right. Now for next turn, if we have a next turn, I'm thinking here we could Dredge 6, but we are far from winning the game. My opponent seems like they still don't have what the... Okay, another land. Sorry. Maybe we can have a natural draw here. Maybe we can be lucky. I would like to have another land, and we still couldn't find a second land. This would be our 12th card. Let's dredge. Let's draw. Yeah, sometimes you must feel the power, the heart of your cards deeply. Cephalid Coliseum, guys, if you don't know, if you're not familiar with, Cephalid Coliseum, after you reach in threshold, is a great card against Doomsday. Because if they try to win with Thassa's Oracle, you can targeting them to force them to draw 3 cards, and then they lose the game. Okay, my opponent doesn't want Doomsday, and we can keep Cephalid Coliseum open until my opponent's end step, and then we cast Otherworldly Gaze, trying to hit something extra for next turn. At some point, we can crack Cephalid Coliseum targeting ourselves. Okay, my opponent has a Doomsday. To win against Cephalid Coliseum in the main deck, a Doomsday player has usually 2 alternatives. Usually. It all depends on which build they are playing, but my opponent can put 2 Thassa's Oracle, 2 copies of Thassa's Oracle on top of their library, so they can cast 1 and then their second, and winning with 3 cards the deck, so I cannot force them to kill the deck. And the other way is with Jace. Jace can also Jace the Wielder of Mystery, something like that. Jace can win the game if I targeting them with the Cephalid Coliseum. Both cases, that means that we have at least 1 more turn. My opponent cannot win the game this turn, and we will dredge and maybe win the game or on turn with Cephalid Coliseum. Okay, my opponent is choosing the cards on top. Let's see what they have. Let's see their build. Have Forces, Dazes, Wraith. Oh, the 1 ring. The 1 ring. 1 force, 2 forces. Okay, my opponent has 4 forces exiled, so no counter spells. Oh, LED. LED is good. Have Faithless Looting there. My opponent doesn't have Force of Will anymore, so LED will resolve. Let's put Scalding Tarn into my graveyard. Daze. Let's count that force. 3 daisies and 4 forces are exiled. Yeah, so let's keep LED on top, and this is our win, guys. This is our win against Doomsday, at least on this game. It would be a huge miss if our LED plus Cephalid Coliseum cannot win the game on this turn. Let's see. We'll draw LED. Let's cast it. My opponent cannot do about that. Let's crack it first. We already have a Dredge Return and Cabal Therapy. We need a combination of Foxwalkers, Narcomoeba, and Breach. Okay. We don't have Anger. I have a Mountain in play. Let's see our opponent's hand for going for it. My opponent has a Thassa's Oracle in their hand, for example. This is probably a win. Okay, let's name Thassa's Oracle. Oh, a Brainstorm. My opponent probably don't want to cast this Brainstorm now, because they probably want to cast Brainstorm to put one Thassa's Oracle in their hand and draw their second and win the game on the next turn. So if I cast this Cabal Therapy now, I force my opponent to do that now, and then I will name Thassa's Oracle again. I think that's the play. Let's see that again. Let's search this. Important to be sure about what you're doing. We could have a second the One Ring. My opponent didn't cast that Brainstorm. I still think we need to go for it now. My gut tells me that they want to put 2 Thassa's Oracle in their hand next turn to win the game next turn. If we name Brainstorm here, we will probably win the game. So my opponent needs to cast that Brainstorm. Both cases, they will not win the game next turn, so we are good. And we already... Okay, my opponent considered the game. And we already have zombies to win the game next turn, so yeah, my opponent wouldn't win from there. Let's sideboard against Doomsday. Some Doomsday players have 2 or 3 Leyline of the Void after sideboarding, but usually they don't have the One Ring. Seeing the One Ring there, I think I will not include answers to Leyline. At least not on game 2, maybe on game 3, according to what we see. Consign to Memory is not excellent, but it has text against... in the previous situation, for example, my opponent could have Thassa's Oracle plus Thassa's Oracle. With the Consign to Memory, we would just counter that trigger, and my opponent's counter spells were already exiled. Shenanigans is interesting because some Doomsday players also have Grafdigger's Cage. But I think I will try only 2 Consign to Memory instead of what? I don't think we'll win with Thassa's Oracle against this opponent. We'll probably win by attacking or targeting them with Cephalid Coliseum. So yeah, Thassa's Oracle and Satoru out, 2 consigns in. Maybe this is good enough. Not this hand, of course. Hand is awful. Mulligan. Let's mulligan. Okay. On 5, I think I keep this, because if my opponent's plan is to counter our spells, at least we have 3 enablers here. So let's keep Cabal Therapy. Of course, we need a black mana to cast it, but we're on the draw. And we must consider, our opponent has considered, but we must consider that our opponent might have Force of Negation after sideboarding. So Otherworldly Gaze in our siding hand is not the worst. We can cast Otherworldly Gaze on my opponent's. So they have Underground Sea. Okay, they have the combo. Doomsday, alright. So for us to win this game, we need to top deck LED. Unless my opponent already has the combo kill on turn 1. Sometimes they have exactly what they need. If they have, for example, Crit Wraith or other cycling effect like Age of Autumn, they can probably win the game this turn. Don't, they will need to wait 1 more turn, and we have the opportunity to draw LED. Oh, they have the win. They had Age of Autumn, now Lotus Petal, Brainstorm. They also had Brainstorm, or maybe Brainstorm was their top deck, top card. LED. Crit Wraith, yeah, they can crack LED in response, draw exactly what they want, probably Ponder. Even Thassa's Oracle was already good. Okay, they have spell bombs. 2 spell bombs? 1. Okay, they had 2 spell bombs after sideboarding. And Murktide Regent. Is Murktide good against us after sideboarding? Usually against the Delver, I don't care too much about Murktide Regent, so I'm not sure if this is the wisest choice. Maybe my opponent is just thinking, casting cards like I do sometimes. But I don't think Murktide is that good against us after sideboarding. So let's re-include our cards, because my opponent has a Spell Bomb, and against a Spell Bomb, of course we can try to counter it with Consign to Memory, but my previous experience playing against Doomsday is on game 3, when you are on the play, go for it. Especially now that we know that my opponent doesn't have ley lines and just a couple of Spell Bombs. Okay, no lands, no keep, let's mulligan. Oh, deck. Do we keep that? We have Cephalid Coliseum here and 2 Otherworldly Gazes. My opponent has Spell Bomb. Let's see if they will mulligan or not. Because let's remember, we are on the play, and my opponent will probably have forces and counter spells and keep this. Not our strongest moment, but it is consistent enough. My opponent exiles our graveyard. We can rebuild it with Otherworldly Gaze, and we have Cephalid Coliseum, which is super strong against my opponent. So let's cast this Otherworldly Gaze on my opponent's upkeep. I will crack Scalding Tarn for a Volcanic. My opponent doesn't play Wastelands. And we'll cast Otherworldly Gaze. Alright, good cards for next turn. LED is good card for next turn. Can even win the game next turn with LED. We can cast LEDs, card our hand, crack Cephalid Coliseum, and win the game. My opponent has Underground Sea. Thoughtseize, that's good. I don't care about your thoughts, my friend. This hand doesn't care. You can force me to discard all the early gaze. I will do it anyways next. Let's hope for no force of will. Oh, my opponent has Lotus Petal? Okay. For a moment, I thought that my opponent would win the game with Dark Ritual Doomsday. Let's play Cephalid Coliseum. Let's cast LED. My opponent counters LED. We can cast Otherworldly Gaze and from there. They don't. We'll probably win the game. They need to counter that. Brainstorm, sacrificing Lotus Petal. This seems like a desperation move. My opponent needs to find Force of Will. They have it? They do. Force of Will exiling Thassa's Oracle, so that's not the worst, guys. I think I'll take this opportunity to try to resolve an Otherworldly Gaze. My opponent has only 2 cards in their hand, and we don't have Threshold to hold Cephalid Coliseum my opponent's turn. Alright, we'll probably have the win next turn. Let's put everything into our graveyard. You can even cast Cabal Therapy here. Something we can do. We can wait one more turn, but if my opponent has Dark Ritual Doomsday, let's see what my opponent has. Usually I'm against expending resources like this. Only a Ponder, alright. Ponder is fine. That means that we'll not lose the game next turn, and then we'll have a Cephalid Coliseum. Polluted Delta, cracks it. Oh, is this a Murktide? Oh, I'm so relieved. Now we can play for a win. Murktide is only a 6 hit. We have Narcomoebas, we have blockers for days, we can just do our thing. Dredge 6. Okay, we need to find 1 Narcomoeba to win this game. We have 3. My opponent has a Pounder. We can even be, since we have only Golgari Thugs there, let's play conservatively. Is that correct? And just put those Poxwalkers. Okay. Oracle, I don't think I need anything here. Looting maybe? Put it to our graveyard. Better to just keep dredging and then Cephalid Coliseum. Because now we can take that Ponder from my opponent's hand. Ponder. And we can take 1 or 2 hits from Murktide. That's fine. And now it's interesting because we have 6 power in play. But we have a Cephalid Coliseum for next turn. And we have our game plan there. If we cracked that Cephalid Coliseum and we couldn't find an Narcomoeba and then my opponent tops decks Nihil Spellbomb, that would be the worst. So let's dredge 6. Okay. Now I think we'll crack Cephalid Coliseum. Have good dredgers there. Dredge 6. Dredge 5. We have dredged. Yeah, we have the win, guys. We have the win. Because now we can discard anything. Doesn't matter. We have Dredge Return, Ox, Thassa's Oracle. Yeah, we have the win. That means we are starting this showcase with the 3-0. Okay, let's not celebrate. My opponent has something in their hand. So let's try to resolve this Dredge Return first. I don't know, maybe they have a counter spell, maybe they have Fairy Macabre. Let's not celebrate yet. Always yield. Okay, we have zombies. Seems like this Dredge Return is resolving. Opponent is just observing. Okay, Ox enters the battlefield. We Dredge 6. Another Narco. We have Anger. Now we have Lethal. Another Narco. My opponent is not conceding. Do they have something? I think I will just Dredge 4 here. We could even... Okay, my opponent conceded. Oof. You never know. You never know what your opponent can have. Guys, we are rocking. Let's go to our next match. Alright, we are on the play against MatheusPonciano. And we have so many good cards here. No Dredgers yet. Narcomoeba, but I think this is a keep. This is not the most reliable keep. It is close. I think this is a keep. My opponent Brazilian. Matheus, if you're here, tell me if you're from Brazil, if you're a fellow Brazilian. If this Careful Study resolves, we'll see 3 more cards until next turn. Then we can cast Breakthrough. If we cannot find a Dredger, we can cast Breakthrough with X equals 1. But we have more cards. Lands, maybe LED, maybe more enablers. So my opponent kept 6 cards. Volcanic Island and Careful Study. Please resolve. We want to resolve this. Okay. Oh, LED. We don't have Dredgers yet, but they will come, guys. They will come. LED. Okay, we have Anger and Poxwalkers. We need a Dredger to win this game. One piece. Important piece of the puzzle. Opponent throws and plays Underground Sea. Another Doomsday. There was a recent league here on the channel that I played against 3 Doomsday decks, I believe. And I won against all of them. MatheusPonciano. Oh, Reanimate. They will reanimate my Anger. We don't have Anger anymore. My opponent has Anger, but it doesn't have haste. Why it has haste? Confused. Oh no, of course, the creature has haste. I'm sorry. I need more coffee. Let's drink it. Now we have some options here. We can cast Narcomoeba and pass a turn. Or we can cast Breakthrough with X equals to 1. I think I would like to have 3 lands since we don't have a Dredger yet. Let's pay attention here. My opponent using Reanimate means that they doesn't have anything good to reanimate yet. This is a slow hand. Or maybe they have several reanimations. And then they will just cast Entomb and a second Reanimator. So I don't think we have that much time. Just cast a Narcomoeba and wait 1 more turn to have a good draw. This is a good reason to cast Breakthrough. On the other hand, we already have 2 Narcomoebas in our hands, so maybe we need some luck to win this game. We need to try to resolve Narcomoeba. To have at least 1 creature in play. Important to consider all the possibilities. My opponent is thinking here. We already have 2 Volcanics. Let's grab Underground Sea. Let's go for Breakthrough. Yeah, and if my opponent has Daze, I will not pay for it. Or maybe I will pay for it. This is a new situation for me. Never in my life someone did reanimate my anger. This is the first time. What does that mean? What my opponent has. This is breakthrough with x equals to 1. So at the end we will have 1 card in our hand. Is result. That's a good argument to crack a DD if my opponent has days. Yeah, my opponent has days. I think we're going for it, but for blue mana instead of red. This is a luck moment. Because, okay, it doesn't matter because we don't have any blue or red flashback spells. But we can keep something in our hand. What is more important, LED or Cephalid Coliseum? Probably Cephalid Coliseum, because we don't have Dredgers yet. Cephalid Coliseum can at least dig for more action. My opponent doesn't have lands, so if they play a Wasteland, we can still crack Cephalid Coliseum. And now we have a Cabal Therapy, so 2 Poxwalkers. This is one weird game that maybe we can win without ever dredging, guys. Because with 2 Poxwalkers and Cabal Therapy, if my opponent doesn't have anything like Brainstorm Ponder, no action, we can at some point get those Poxwalkers back attacking for lethal in 3 turns. My opponent has Ponder, and my coffee is gone. It's Sunday, but no rest. Let's play. Let's play for real. Okay, my opponent didn't shuffle the deck. Now they will attack me, dealing 2 more damage. We will draw. Dredge return. It doesn't matter. We will crack Cephalid Coliseum anyways. I think this time I will keep red open. We draw Faithless Looting. Oh, come on, deck. Okay, guys, but now, if I keep this LED, this is what I was talking about. We can finally get those Poxwalkers back. Let's see if this LED will resolve. I think it will. Yeah. So now, blue mana. Let's use 2 mana to get those Poxwalkers back. And if we reveal another Otherworldly Gaze, something good on top for next turn, we can win on turn 4. Nothing. Oh, but actually it is something, because now we'll have more creatures. And we have a Cabal Therapy. Guys, can we win this without dredging? Can we win against the blue-black Reanimator without dredging? Because now I have 3 creatures. I can cast Dredge Return, getting Satoru back, drawing a card. We have Cabal Therapy. We can draw 2 cards this. So much better than Knight's Whisper, for example. And we will have almost lethal on board without ever dredging. Our opponent needs to have a Force of Will at some point. Okay, Narco is in play. Let's try. I'll not waste my Cabal Therapy there. I want to draw more cards. Let's see. Now we'll have 3 Poxwalkers and a Satoru in play if this Dredge Return resolves. And then we will draw 2 cards. My opponent is taking a long time here to think, or maybe it's just Odo's leg. Okay, is resolving? It's important to put this Satoru. Okay, it is resolving. Satoru draws us a card. Draw Looting. Yes. Do you cast it now? We don't have Dredgers yet. But I think we'll cast it, because if we draw a Dredger, we'll discard it immediately, and then... I'm not sure, but we are so deep into our deck that I think we'll, at some point, we'll draw a Dredger, right? No Dredgers yet. Oh, deck. Oh, deck. Okay, let's cast Cabal Therapy here, targeting my opponent. Second Poxwalkers. Poxwalkers enters, we'll draw a card. Cabal Therapy is not a Dredger yet. Okay, next turn we can draw 2 more cards. Let's name Entomb, I guess. Okay, my opponent had Entomb and Animate Dead. Not sure if reanimating my anger was the best choice there. Maybe my opponent was afraid of losing the game. But they could Entomb and reanimate on turn 2. And maybe my anger there just scared my opponent a little bit. My opponent attacks, we will block with Satoru. Have 11 power in play without even dredging. Ponder. Ponder is good. That means my opponent will not cast Animate Dead turn. Nothing else? Nothing else? But they didn't shuffle. Okay, basic island. No dredgers. I believe we attack first, right? Play the island, why not? Our creatures will not have haste anyway, so let's attack first. My opponent kills the Poxwalkers, we can get them back after that. Okay, my opponent is down to 5, so Reanimate is out of the table. Let's cast Cabal Therapy targeting them, so we can force them to discard that I had. This is round 4, and this... Okay, my opponent has a second Entomb. And this is 4th different opponent's deck we face in this tournament. So it seems that the metagame, it seems so far, it's Animate Dead. Not a blue soup, this is not the... Okay, let's cast here. Let's see if we can find a Dredger. No Dredgers. Come on, deck, come on. 30 cards deep. Half of our deck deep and no Dredgers, and we will probably win this game anyways. Do we keep Otherworldly Gaze? No. Let's cast Cabal Therapy just to take my opponent from that throw. So, of course, they want to throw the bin, but they have something better on Traxa. And that throw means another land for my opponent. Let's draw a card. Ooh, a Golgari Thug. Welcome back to the gang, the Dredge gang. Draw of Azadum. My opponent has a useless Force of Will, and we have lethal next turn without even dredging. Turn 4. Okay, we won. It feels like something like Dredge Hate Bears or something like that. Just okay, I get a 3-1, another 2-1, now a 2-3 menace, and we win the game. But against Reanimator, we don't really want Satoru and Thassa's Oracle. Anger is not. Anger is good, but probably not what we want here. I like Into the Flood Maw because it can bounce Doubt Void Walker. Doubt Void Walker is a reality these days again. and it can bounce the ulti for a turn, and then we can win the game. But it can also bounce the tracks. Okay, let's because I want to include Leyline of the Void, and I think that's fine. Ox, Dredge, Return, Foxwalker, Careful Study. Because Leyline, guys, on the draw is good. Sometimes your opponent will not mulligan until they have something against you. They will mulligan until they have a turn 2 attraction. So Leyline is good. But Into the Football is also good. Maybe this is just oversight boarding, but after we winning game 1, my opponent will definitely have answers like Doubt Void Walker. Sometimes they have even Surgicals or Fair. Okay, we'll keep this. We'll keep this. Leyline, Lion's Eye Diamond, Capel Therapy. Yeah. Ooh. We cannot deal with a Doubt Void Walker. So if my opponent has a turn 2 Doughty, we'll probably lose the game anyways. Because of that, maybe we should cast a Blind Cabal Therapy targeting my opponent here. Founder. Let's see if they will shuffle or not. We both kept 7 cards. Didn't shuffle. Okay, another Leyline is not good. Let's see if this LED resolves. My opponent can even have Reanimate. I'm inclined here to cast this Cabal Therapy. Okay, my opponent even has Force of Will. Exciting Atraxa. They definitely have Doubt Void Walker, right? Let's try to card Doubt Void Walker. Yeah. But they also have Brazen Brower and Wasteland. So guys, this isn't over. Because we need one more land or one good enabler to win this game. Had an answer, my opponent had an answer. We are both cleaning up the field. So my opponent has an answer to my answer. I have a bounce spell. This is not useful now. So we pass the turn. My opponent has a Flooded Strand and then bouncing my Leyline. But we can win this game if we top deck a good answer. And a land is good, not a Dredger. Dredger isn't that good. My opponent will bounce Leyline. Now they will have 3 lands. This is the temple side of their deck. They doesn't have the reanimation plan yet. Okay, they have Flooded Strand yet. They are holding that fetch land. Another Leyline. And that is something that sometimes happens when you have Leyline of the Void. This is the reason why some players don't like play Leyline of the Void. Because okay, they are a great answer to graveyard strategies, but times happens. And we don't have Chromox. My opponent has Undercity Sewers. They want the card top. They liked card on top. Okay, we have an LED. Just need a solid enabler now. My opponent has 2 cards in their hand. I think I'll just go to the cleanup phase so I can discard Synchronimp this turn. Opponent has an Intom. That was their top deck. For Archon of Cruelty. Yeah, sure, because they did exile Atraxa, right? They will reanimate Archon. I think we would need to bounce this Archon of Cruelty. Our chance my opponent has only 1 card in their hand. If this is Daze, we'll probably lose. But our way to win this game is finding Faithless Looting next turn. And then casting Looting. Yeah, let's bounce it. Even we can discard Golgari Thug now, so we'll have 2 Dredgers. Our way to win this game is resolving that LED, finding flashback spells to win the game after that. My opponent has 3 lands, finally played that Flooded Strand, and they passed. Oof. Come on, looting. Dredge 5. No looting, but 1 Otherworldly Gaze. Let's cast LED, let's see if my opponent has an answer. No answers. I think I'll go for it, guys. At least we can see our top and manipulate the top of our deck. Okay, now we have a looting. Let's put everything into our graveyard. The reason behind this decision to go fast here is because my opponent can top deck a second Doubt Void Walker at any moment. We are low on life. We are already low on life. So to manage to top deck Cephalid Collision, for example, that could be good. Unfortunately, we had a Faithless Looting exactly on top. My opponent has 5 mana at their disposal. And they have a second Doubt, you see? Okay, now we cannot win the game, guys. My opponent will attack for 3 and then for 6. You need to top deck what? No, let's consider here. It's already lethal. Almost there, guys. Almost there. Being on the play, I will not play with Leyline of the Void. I don't think they are that useful on the play. We are faster than my opponent's A plan. I'm not sure if I will keep the playset off Into the Flood Maw. Let's see. What is important to re-include? Foxwalkers, 1 Dredge Return. Here maybe. Ox is good. Ox can be reanimated, but usually my opponent will not reanimate our Ox because they have other stuff in their hand, right? My opponent is also a tempo deck. So 3 Into the Flood Maw? Yeah, feels right. Okay, we are on the play. My opponent has lost connection to the game. I keep this. We don't have Dredgers yet, but this is so good against both Daze and Force of Will. Also Wasteland. So I think we can keep that. We only need to find 2 cards to win this game. Dredger and a combo piece. My opponent is back. Okay, my opponent kept 7 cards. So let's cast Otherworldly Gaze on my opponent's upkeep. Feels weird because if you have a good creature, my opponent can just reanimate the creature. But if my opponent spends a reanimate on your creature, you are usually winning the game. Because Dredge doesn't have that great creatures to be reanimated. So it's 1 less reanimation spell. And everything we want here is to find an LED on top, or maybe a Faithless Looting for next turn. Find the Golgari Grief Troll. My opponent cannot reanimate Golgari Grief Troll. Okay, so we have a Faithless Looting for next turn. We have an Arcomoeba. Let's keep looting on top. Oh, my opponent has Surgical? They have Surgical Extraction. They kept a hand of 7 cards with Surgical Extraction. So Doughties are not enough. They also had Surgical. How many? 2 or 1? Not more than 2. So we don't have Narcomoebas anymore. We need Foxwalkers to win this game, and we don't have Faithless Looting on top anymore. That's so scary, because now if my opponent has a turn 2 Voidwalker, it is so difficult to win this game to come back. Maybe they kept a bad hand with Surgical. Luckily. So they know that we don't have any answers to their graveyard this game. So no Narco for us. See what they can do. The ground C, Founder. Alright. My opponent shuffles their library, and on our upkeep, we have Otherworldly Gaze. Let's cast it. Alright. Alright. At least we are dredging. No Narcos, but at least we'll have dredgers. So looting. Volcanic Island and looting. Let's see if my opponent has days. They don't. So we dredge 6, dredge 5, and we'll discard Griff Troll and Poxwalkers. My opponent plays Flooded Strand. Please, no Doughty. Please, no Doughty. Oh, they have Doughty Voidwalker. Okay, we need to find a bounce spell on top. Now, Poxwalkers will enter the battlefield. At least we can raise this Doughty Voidwalker, which is weird. Let's find answer. No, don't want those cards. So my opponent had a turn 1 Surgical and a turn 2 Doughty Voidwalker. Can we come back from this? Let's draw Cabal Therapy. It seems my opponent doesn't have counter spells, so let's take this opportunity to cast this Otherworldly Gaze. Okay, we have Into the Flood Maw on top. Ox is super good for the future, because now we have Dredge Return back into our deck. So let's keep Into the Flood Maw on top and pass the turn. My opponent didn't have counter spells the previous turn, but maybe this turn they have a counter spell. Let's hope they don't, because if they don't, we bounce out Voidwalker, we correct Cephalid Coliseum, and win the game. That's the plan. That's the plan. Will our plan work? They have Entomb. Oh, no. Archon of Cruelty. Okay. So that means they have Atraxa in their hand? Probably, because Atraxa would be so much better here. Fortunately, we will lose our Poxwalkers. Let's keep Cabal Therapy, I guess. We have several dredgers there. Dredging is not a problem. Oh, my opponent has Wasteland. Well, Havocs of Agonas on top after Into the Flood Maw, right? But now it's getting worse, because we cannot bounce Doughty Voidwalker immediately. Guys, we will lose this? I think we... Let's see. My opponent will has an island, and we'll go down to 1 here. 9 from Archon. We'll discard our Cabal Therapy. And 3 from Voidwalker. We are down to 1 life? 9? Yes, and now my opponent has access to Force of Negation being hardcast. Can we win in a backswing? Can we come back from this? I'll try. I'll definitely try. Let's bounce Doughty Voidwalker here. Can we come back from this? Let's see. Okay. Oof. So that means my opponent doesn't have counter spells. Maybe days. Now we will dredge and we'll try to resolve Ox of Agonas. Anger is there. We need to resolve this Ox to have a chance to win this game. Even if we resolve, it's not guaranteed. Have 1 less Poxwalkers. To have 1 Cabal Therapy. Let's see. One step at a time. Is Ox resolving? It is. My opponent has 6 cards in their hand. What do they have? Okay, so dredge 6. Poxwalkers are there. Dredge Return is there. Okay. Down to 6 cards in our library. Let's cast Cabal Therapy targeting my opponent. We have a second Surgical, my friend. 3 bridges. 3 zombies with haste. This resolves, we will have the win, guys. We came down to 1 life, but we can win this. My opponent has an Archon of Cruelty. 6 cards in their hand. What are the odds of winning this game? Never surrender. Never give up. Okay, bridges are resolving their triggers. We have 2 Poxwalkers. I believe my opponent has an Atraxa in their hand. Of course, I will not name that. I could name Doughty Voidwalker, but it doesn't matter, right? So I think the right name is a counterspell either way. Maybe Force of Negation. But if my opponent had a Force of Negation, they would... Okay, they have a Petty Theft. They are Petty Theft zombie. But this is not enough. We still have 3 creatures. 4 creatures. Let's name Brainstorm, since they have 1 blue mana open. Okay, Murktide, Doughty Voidwalker, and 2 Animate Deads. So my opponent doesn't have an answer. I think we can win, guys. Let's cast Cabal Therapy targeting ourselves. We don't have the Oracle combo anymore. So we need to attack to win this game. And we'll name Grave Troll. Now we can reanimate a giant Grave Troll to win this game. We can still cast another Cabal Therapy. We already have 10 damage. Yeah, we have lethal, guys. We have lethal. Alright. This is probably the best match so far. What were the odds of winning this game? Let's attack. We have even another Cabal Therapy in our graveyard that I even didn't use. Ooh. We are 4-0, guys. We are 4-0 in this Legacy Showcase Challenge. Let's see our opponents here. This is round 5. I unfortunately unpaired against Bruno Guerra. Bruno is a fellow Brazilian. We are unfortunately paired against each other. And my opponent usually plays with the mulligan. Usually he plays with control decks, like Beanstalk. This is not an Eorion deck. This is tempting because I have access to basic lands. I'm not sure if my opponent's latest build has Wasteland, but my opponent counters my Faithless Looting. We can try again on turn 3. At least we have lands, we have Cephalid Coliseum, which is super strong. My opponent kept 7, so I'm not confident that this Faithless Looting will resolve. But I also don't want to go down to 5 cards against my opponent playing control. We need a single fetch land to even having access to Cabal Therapy. So I have many good draws on top. Let's start. Basic Mounting and Faithless Looting. Okay, we have a Dredger, 2 Dredgers in our bean. We have Cephalid Coliseum next turn. No, we don't have Cephalid Coliseum next turn. We have Cephalid Coliseum on turn 3. That's cool, that's cool. We are playing against control, no rush. Opponent has a Tundra, so control deck confirmed. Unless my opponent is also playing Breakfast. So Dredge 6, Anger and Narcomoeba, great. Narcomoeba has haste, but we cannot do anything this turn. We don't have black mana, we don't have anything with flashback. Opponent is holding priority on the draw step, so I believe they have Swords to Plowshares. They chose not to fire Plow, maybe it's not Plow, maybe. Okay, let's play the basic island, let's attack. My opponent aren't sure if we have something else. Okay, they had a Swords to Plowshares. And next turn will be good. According to what we reveal, we can even choose to not crack Cephalid Coliseum, but I think we will crack it. Founder, opponent shuffles his library. And now we'll dredge 5. Okay, we have great dredgers. Nobody plays Stifle anymore, right? Everybody is consigned to memory. So I'm not scared to crack the Cephalid Coliseum. What is happening? I'm clicking here. Let's crack Cephalid Coliseum. We'll dredge 6. Dredge 6 again. We have Narcomoeba, guys. We will probably have the win here. 2 Narcos, dredge 5. Now we discard Cabal Therapy, Bridge, and 1. And if my opponent has another removal spell, we can cast Cabal Therapy and another Therapy and then Dredge Return. Creatures have haste. Let's see my opponent's hand. What will I name here? Brainstorm or Force of Will, right? I'm not afraid of Swords to Plowshares, so Brainstorm. Brainstorm and Uro. And Monastery Mentor. Yeah, my opponent is playing a classic band strategy, maybe for color. So let's bring back Satoru here. Let's win with style. Don't have Ox anymore yet, so let's win with Satoru. We already have 10 power with haste. 12 now. Dredge 6. Now have Ox, Poxwalkers. Okay, let's cast my 1 more Cabal Therapy, sacrificing Poxwalkers. Now have 16 power with haste. Satoru triggers. We'll dredge 6. Satoru triggers. We'll dredge 4. Another Therapy. Yeah, we have little. Uro. And we also have Thassa's Oracle. So if we find another Dredge Return, we can even win with Thassa's Oracle. Let's cast Cabal Therapy, targeting my opponent. But he will probably concede here. Dredge 4. Another Narco. Have Dredge Return. We have everything. Let's have a natural draw here. Okay, just an imp. Let's name Lifetime Pass Holder. It seems like a good name. And now we attack with everyone. Let's sideboard. This is a good matchup for us. Dredge is historically favored against control. Even if you, and our build is super strong against control, I think I will not even sideboard here. We could try Shenanigans if my opponent has something like Grafdigger's Cage. But if my opponent plays Grafdigger's Cage, it's probably only 1. And a control deck will not mulligan aggressively trying to hit a single Grafdigger's Cage. My opponent can also have Ghost Vacuum or that. But Silent Gravestone is interesting because maybe my opponent has cards like Fairy Macabre, Ghost Vacuum, Surgical Extractions. Gravestone is also good against the... what is the name? The blue Sanctuary, the blue land, I think. That can put a Terminus on top or something like that. But I think our main game plan is super strong. Maybe my opponent has a little bit of everything. My opponent can have 1 Endurance. They play green or 2 Endurances. They have Uro, so they'll not have Rest in Peace. Be afraid of that. But my opponent, yeah, maybe Endurance, maybe Surgical, maybe Ghost Vacuum, maybe. When there is too many maybes, I prefer to not sideboard at all. Let's see what we have on game 2. Okay, we have a turn 1, but my opponent kept 7 cards. I will keep this. I'm not sure if I will play this as a turn 1. Let's see. Tundra and Pounder. Because if my opponent has a Surgical Extraction or Fairy Macabre, with Breakthrough represents 5 more cards in my graveyard. Breakthrough I can... Yeah, if my opponent has Fairy Macabre, no. But if my opponent has only Surgical Extraction, I think my opponent plays Daze, so let's test them on LED. Okay, let's go for it, guys. My opponent didn't shuffle, but I think we must go for it. My opponent has Surgical, we can even cast Ox of Agonas here. That's what I was about to say. Have enough cards to cast Ox. Okay, no Force, no Surgical, so Dredge. Okay, only 1 Dredger. Now we have 2 Poxwalkers and 2 Cabal Therapies. Let's bring back this Ox. And when we cast Ox of Agonas, you'll know what that means. Let's see if Ox enters the battlefield. Poxwalkers will trigger. Let's do our Ox impression. Dredge 5? Only Dredge 5 again, but now we have Dredge 6. Okay. I think we can still win this game easily. Let's sacrifice Ox targeting my opponent. Let's see what they have. Let's name, what? Containment Priest? Because since they don't have anything. Oh yeah, they do have Containment Priest. We are on fire with our Cabal Therapies, guys. Our Cabal Therapies are on point today. Let's cast our second one. My opponent told me here, this Cabal Therapy is trained. But he told me that Containment Priest made sense. So yeah, let's cast Cabal Therapy here. They have up the Beanstalk, Uro. Let's name... Oh, I clicked on myself, not on him. Okay, let's name Kogari Withdraw. I'm getting distracted here, guys, because I was talking to my friend here, chatting with him. But the right move here is just returning Oxophagonus, of course. I'm telling him I'm distracted. Speaking with you, so I got distracted. Since I knew that to make my point here, since I know that my opponent cannot counter my Dredge return, of course my move here is returning Oxophagonus before casting new Cabal Therapies. I was just distracted because this game is on the back, guys. We'll win here. Probably on turn 1. Let's pay attention and finish this. Like a Mortal Kombat situation. Finish him. So we'll Dredge 6. Dredge 6 again. Dredge 6 again. Okay, Thassa's Oracle is there. Narcos. Cast Cabal Therapy targeting my opponent. Zombies. Let's take that Brainstorm. I don't care about up the Beanstalk there. I'm distracted again. I should bring back Satoru back. Oh, well, since this game is fast, this will be a long tournament. I think I'll get some rest instead of playing non-stop here. Let's pass the turn. This was a mess of a turn 1 because we could do better, but that's okay. We'll get the win anyways. Our deck is so good that we can win even with some flaws in our game plan. Let's attack for lethal, and then I'll have another coffee and I'll have 30 minutes rest. Jeez. Let's take this opportunity to rest a little bit. Not for you because I'm recording this, so let's go to our next match. Right, guys, let's pay attention because this is round 6 and we are 5-0. If we win 2 more, if we win 2 more matches, we are in the top 8, and it would be my first time playing the top 8 of a showcase challenge. I won challenges before, but a showcase challenge, you see here, we are there, close to the top 8. We need to keep winning. Okay, this can be a turn 1 win. We are on the play against Wooded Raptors. So let's see, LED. Let's see if they have a counter spell. Okay, let's try to win on turn 1, I guess. My opponent has a Force of Will. We will still resolve a Faithless Looting. No forces. Great. My opponent kept 7 cards. Dredge 6. No other Dredgers. Let's cast Oxophagonus here. Walkers. We don't need Gaze. Need to exile some goodies. Cabal Therapy, I guess. And Poxwalkers. Yeah, let's keep Dredger and Dredge Return. Way we can even win on turn 1. Let's see if I'm not doing misclicks here. So Ox, Dredge Return, go get Withdraw. Yeah, that's correct. So done. Let's see if we can chain Dredgers. Ox is here. 5-3. We Dredge 6. We Dredge 5. Great. And with Dredge 6 we have Breach. We have Cabal Therapy. We have Dredge Return. We don't have Poxwalkers, so we cannot win on. We have only 1 Breach. We cannot win on turn 1, but we can have some zombies and see what my opponent is playing. In the blind, I remember playing against my opponent. I believe they usually play with tempo decks or blue decks, or maybe I'm just confusing. I'm not sure. Wooded Raptors. My opponent didn't have a counter spell, so we could name here a fast combo piece like Dark Ritual, for example. My opponent is thinking. Maybe they're thinking about conceding the game since we have so much in our grave. I have another Cabal Therapy there, so if we miss, we'll have a shot. Okay, it seems it will resolve. We will name Brains. Okay, no Brains. Okay, this is a blue-black Reanimator deck with Entomb plus Reanimate. But both fatties are in their hands, so maybe they have another fatty instead of Archon, maybe a second Archon or a second Atraxa. I think we need to take anything here. My opponent. Let's go. Let's go to our next turn. Or maybe we can hit another bridge, or maybe something better to. If we hit Satoru, for example, and another bridge or Nakomoiba, we know that our Dredge Return will resolve, and then yeah, my opponent still holds Entomb plus Reanimate. Let's Dredge 5. Another bridge, okay? Okay, so we probably have the win here. Have 2 Dredge Returns. Let's cast our first Cabal Therapy before attacking because we have a mountain. So if we find Anger, our creatures will have haste anyways. Opponent will Entomb in response, so we will name Reanimate. Let's pay attention, guys. The stakes are. Oh, Valgavoth. Okay, this is the other build. So stakes are higher than ever for me, personally, as a Thoughtseize. You can cast that Thoughtseize if you want. You want them to reanimate Valgavoth. Ox enters the battlefield. Come on, let's hit what we need to win the game. Dredge 6. Dredge 6. Another bridge. Dredge 6. We need more. Okay, Narco, 2 Narcos, Walkers. We don't have other Cabal Therapies, so I cannot reanimate Ox one more time. We don't have Anger. I could cast Dredge Return here only to put something big, something large in play and have Poxwalkers. But we have only 8 cards in our deck right now, so I think we will have the win next turn. We need to control our anxious mind and our insanity here and think. I can put a large Golgari Grave Troll there, but if my opponent puts a lifelink next turn in play, a giant lifelinker, maybe it's better to just try to win with Thassa's Oracle. We already have Thassa's Oracle and Dredge Return there. We only need to Dredge 6 next turn. Yeah, I will not do anything here, guys. Valgavoth is a 9/9 lifelink. it would be harder to attack to win here. My opponent is on 20 life. Of course, you can attack, but if my opponent gets that 9-9 with an animate dead, for example, to be an 8-9. Since we already have Thassa's Oracle and Dredge return in our graveyard, even if my opponent reanimates VanGogh, it's a win. It's okay if our next cards get exiled. Okay, my opponent just plays Polluted Delta, so I think we will win. Anger is there, we have Poxwalkers, we have Bridges, no Cabal Therapies, but let's play for a win. If my opponent counters that, my opponent has some weird counterspell, we still have a bunch of hasty zombies. This is our first match against a deck that we already faced in this tournament, but I think this is a different build. My opponent has VanGogh. Yeah, my opponent is conceding. Maybe they also have Show and Tell, at least in their sideboard. I believe I saw some build. It is a different build. Not everyone is playing VanGogh. Okay, so against Reanimator here, let's think. The blue-black Reanimator, but not the same blue-black Reanimator that we saw before. But I believe we will just play it like the same, right? Opponent probably has Doughty Voidwalkers, Satoru out, Thassa's Oracle out. We didn't see too much of my opponent's game plan, only the reanimation plan, but no other blue cards. We could try to be really bold and don't sideboard too much, but being on the draw against this deck, maybe they don't have Doughty Voidwalkers, but I think I'll do just the same, guys. I don't want to lose to a turn 2 Doughty or to a turn 2 VanGogh. VanGogh is a game-winning move for my opponent. If they have that creature, we will lose the game instantly. Even bouncing it is not reliable. It has a great ward. Okay, we can keep that. Going to the Flood Mauls, we have a solid turn 2 here, our best Dredger. If my opponent has counterspells, I'm not sure if they are playing counterspells, but we have 2 enablers. We don't have Leyline of the Void, so my opponent kept 7. So it is risky. Part of me wants to go after Leyline of the Void, but sometimes my opponent keeps 7 because they have Doughty Voidwalker. So having 2 into the Flood Maul is good. My opponent starts with Underground Sea and Ponder. And if you watch closely, this is like a modern hand, starting hand, besides Golgari Draw. If this was a Stink with Imp, this was a modern power level starting hand. Because now we have Faithless Looting and Cephalid Breakfast in the format. That's exciting. And I also play into the Flood Maul there in the sideboard. Okay, my opponent chooses not to use Ponder's ability. Let's see what we draw. Otherworldly Gaze. I would prefer other stuff, but let's see if we can resolve Faithless Looting. I'll grab Volcanic Island here. I'll not play around Wasteland. Not sure if my opponent has Wasteland. Okay, it is resolving. Alright, let's discard Golgari Draw and I think Narcomoeba and pass the turn. Next turn we'll have access to into the Flood Maul and Otherworldly Gaze if we need. If we need a bounce spell or just Kraken Cephalic Coliseum. My opponent has Polluted Delta. Please no Doughty. A Thought Seize. Alright. Oh, targeting them. They have Atraxa. Do we bounce Atraxa next turn? They reanimate Atraxa, so down to 10. We could reanimate Atraxa. Let's see. Oh, they have 2 Show and Tell, so my first assumption was right. Oh, they have 2 more Atraxas. So this is actually a Show and Tell / Reanimator deck. So 3 Atraxas at least. Careful Study. Yeah, this is not the non-blue-black Reanimator list. Dark Ritual, yeah, so my opponent is a faster deck. Maybe they have Doughty Voidwalker, maybe they don't. Chooses Swamp, Careful Study, Atraxa, and Force of Will. So my opponent chose cards that allow them to keep digging, like Careful Study, but they can also play a Show and Tell Atraxa, a second Atraxa next turn. Okay, so this is what my opponent's hand looks like now. They have a Force of Will with a blue pitch. Let's Dredge first before doing decisions. If I try to bounce Atraxa, my opponent can just replay it. So it will be a winning move only if we have something to win after that. Yeah, better move here is just cracking Cephalid Coliseum. I have 8 cards in our graveyard, so let's activate Cephalid Coliseum. Dredge 6, Dredge 5, Dredge 5, no Cabal Therapies? No therapies. I was hoping to find at least 1 Cabal Therapy there. So, and this is unfortunate. This is not, this is kind of unlucky to not hit our Cabal Therapies there, because if we have Cabal Therapies, we could at least 1 Cabal Therapy to take both Show and Tell, or maybe Force of Will from my opponent's hand, and also having some zombies. Now, if my opponent plays a second Atraxa, they can even exile our Bridges. Okay, they decided to go for Careful Study, so no Show and Tell this turn. And hit a Reanimation spell. Added 2 lands. They don't want the Surveil land. Okay, since they are attacking, let's take this opportunity to block with both Narcomoebas, right? At least we have 6 2 zombies. Then we can try to bounce Atraxa. Opponent will definitely force or bounce spell, but then we'll have a second one. But we need to find Cabal Therapies to have this plan really working, because if we Dredge 6 now and we have at least 1 Cabal Therapy, this plan will work. We can bounce Atraxa, know that our opponent has a Force of Will, they can have a second Force. Okay, they play the Swamp, and oh, they have Doughty Voidwalker, so we have other priorities now. Yeah, and what about... We'll try to bounce Doughty Voidwalker, my opponent will definitely counter. We need to do that again, and then we will not hit Cabal Therapy on time. That's unfortunate. Let's try to bounce Doughty. Of course, my opponent will counter that. Maybe they don't. If they don't counter that, yeah, they will counter that. Force of Will exiling Show and Tell, so my opponent still has Show and Tell, Atraxa, and an unknown card. We will draw another Otherworldly Gaze. We cannot bounce Doubt here because my opponent will just replay it. We can attack here. My opponent blocks, gaining 7 life. We deal 10 damage. My opponent loses 3 life. This is something. But the life link 7/7 Vigilance needed to be bounced, and now my opponent just top decked Doubt Voidwalker. So what? This was pretty unlucky because if we had at least one Cabal Therapy, guys, one, this turn would be super different. Unfortunately, we couldn't hit one of our 4 Cabal Therapies in the top 34 cards. Let's attack. Yeah, let's attack. Because if we had Cabal Therapy, we could force my opponent to discard Show and Tell, or maybe use that Force of Will, and then we have access to bounce spell. We could bounce Atraxa and win the game with our 6 zombies in 2 turns in a row. But now we cannot do that. That's the turn. We need to bounce Doubt Voidwalker at the end of this turn, or at least after my opponent taps 2 mana. So they will attack, blocks, then Brainstorm. Alright, so my opponent can maybe find another land to cast Show and Tell. My opponent casts Show and Tell here. I will put a Stink with Imp in play. The blocker. My opponent is deeply thinking their Brainstorm, what to put on top, what to put on top. They decided, and they will fetch Bloated Out. Okay, so we are not sure about what my opponent has. It isn't Show and Tell, alright. They have a second Atraxa or other card that is worse. I cannot cast Into the Flood Maw in response, because if I do, my opponent will just put Doubt Voidwalker in play. So let's... Okay, my opponent has Archon of Cruelty instead. Let's cast Into the Flood Maw in response to this trigger, before my opponent draws a Force of Will. We'll probably lose this, because we don't have Thassa's Oracle anymore, so Atraxa's trigger, need to sacrifice something. Do I sacrifice Stink with Imp or a zombie? Atraxa having lifelink means that we need to put so many zombies in play to try to win this game. What to sacrifice here? My opponent is telling something here, I'm not sure if I understand. Rio, they're third and last. They're talking about my Into the Flood Maw, maybe? I have 4, not only 3. Okay, so let's concentrate here. We have 3 bridges, so 3 more zombies. My opponent has a 7/7 flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink, and an Archon of Cruelty. We didn't hit Cabal Therapy yet. Ah, okay, I got it. My opponent is accusing me of being too lucky. Now we have Cabal Therapies. Can we win here? Probably cannot win here, because we have 1 Arco left. How can we block both creatures without a bounce spell? We needed a reanimation spell to put a blocker in play, but we don't have those anymore because I sided them out. Atraxa is so good. We could win against Archon of Cruelty, but we cannot win against that Atraxa. We have a blocker, but we need 2 blockers to win next turn. To try to win, because I'm not sure if we can deal 30 damage, 37 damage. My opponent will gain 14 life. Let's see my opponent's hand here. 2 Poxwalkers in play. I'm telling my opponent that it didn't matter. I cannot win. And I wasn't lucky. Guys, if you're playing online, even in person, don't go making assumptions like that. Oh, my opponent is so lucky. Let's name Doubt Voidwalker here. Because as you saw, we weren't lucky. My opponent has Reanimate. We needed Cabal Therapy on the top 34, 34? 36, 30 something cards, and we couldn't find a single Cabal Therapy. And now my opponent is accusing me of being lucky, and we lose the game anyways. So that's not polite. Let's be good sportsmen. So I don't want Leyline of the Void being on the play, but I probably can keep 3 bounce spells. Now we know that our opponent has Doubt Voidwalker. My opponent is a different deck. It's not a tempo deck. They have Dark Ritual. So Dredge Return and Ox of Agonas and come back. We will keep any starting hand that has Lion's Eye Diamond, Mana, and Enabler plus Dredger, of course. Even if it is a single one, because my opponent can have a turn 1 Doubt Voidwalker. I can re-include 1 card. I don't think Anger is important against Doubt Voidwalker. Saturno and Oracle will stay there. Do I keep 4 Into the Flood Maw? Or only 1? Or only 3, I mean. What if I not include Into the Flood Maw being on the draw, being on the play, since my opponent can be so fast? With Dark Ritual, Entomb, and Reanimate, they can win the game on turn 1. But at the same time, I need to have at least 1 answer to Doubt Voidwalker. Okay, I think that's the same game plan that we did the previous round. Different decks, but do we keep that? Okay, this is solid. This is a solid turn 2 against 0 counterspells. This is a solid turn 2 against 1 counterspell. This is still a solid turn 2 because we have 2 lootings. My opponent counters my first looting. We can on turn 2 cast looting plus breakthrough and win the game. I have only a Golgari Thug, but we'll find more cards, right? So let's crack Scouting Turn. I think we don't need to play around Wastelands against this opponent. So Faithless Looting. Okay, it did resolve. We will discard 1 land, unfortunately. If my opponent's turn 1 was Founder or something like that, we have good chances to win the game. Turn 2. Hopefully they don't have another... Only Underground Sea, alright. So maybe this is a Tomb. We'll Dredge 4. Have Ox. No Dredgers there. My opponent stopped on my draw step. Maybe they have Trico. Okay, let's cast Faithless Looting. I'll not play around days here because my opponent has days. That's fine, actually. I know this is counterintuitive, but playing against Doubt Voidwalker decks, if my opponent has a days here, honestly, I don't think that's too bad, because next turn we can cast a Breakthrough and then crack Cephalid Breakfast, and my opponent is one land behind if they cast days. So that's fine playing into days, since I don't have answers to Doubt Voidwalker. So if my opponent wants to daze me, they do. This Faithless Looting resolves. My opponent is still thinking. If this resolves, we will draw 2 cards. Let's see what we will draw. This doesn't. Okay, my opponent has Force of Will. Exciting Atraxa. Now I will play land and cast Breakthrough. Do I? If I play Scalding Turn and crack it, I already have mana to cast Ox. I can exile 9 cards and cast Ox with. So if I do it now, casting Breakthrough now, I will just draw 4, discard my whole hand. Since next turn I can have a Cephalid Breakfast in play. Yeah, so let's play Scalding Turn and pass. This build that we're playing today doesn't have Surveillance. Oh, my opponent plays a Surveillance. Oof. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. So no doubt is my opponent. If they want to reanimate Archon of Cruelty, honestly, thank you, opponent. Yeah, because now we can discard our Dredger. We don't have creatures to sacrifice. Oof. Now I think we can win on the next turn. Unless my opponent has something different like Surgicals or Carry Macabre. So let's grab another Volcanic, I guess. So we can even cast Ox. My opponent has 4 cards in their hand. Let's Dredge. We need to find another Dredger here. If we cannot find another Dredger, we have other options. Let's see. We can crack Cephalid Coliseum, draw 3, discard 3, cast Breakthrough. My opponent can have another Force of Will, but they don't. We could cast Otherworldly Gaze to get Poxwalkers. Then we cast Cabal Therapy, sacrificing Poxwalkers, targeting us. To discard Golgari Thug, and maybe hitting more cards, not only Thug there. This way we don't need to crack Cephalid Coliseum. We can save Cephalid Coliseum for the future if we need. I think that's my play. Otherworldly Gaze, Poxwalkers, and Poxwalkers is so good. So much better than Nico Reed. Okay, we even have another Breakthrough and another Poxwalker. So we have 2 Poxwalkers this turn. I have a Dredge return there. So now we sacrifice Poxwalkers. Let's see if my opponent has Daze. If they have Daze, this is a great moment to cast it. But I don't think my opponent has Daze, because they used Force of Will the previous turn. So let's name Thug. Now Profit. We need to chain Dredgers here. We only have a Dredge 4. We need to find other Dredgers to try to win the game here. Dredge 4, Dredge 6, oof. And Dredge 5, and Dredge 6. Breakthrough is amazing. Dredging 4 times is better than 2 or 3. Now we have Narcos, we have Dredge Return. We have 1 Breach, but we'll find more. Let's cast Dredge Return, getting Ox back. Don't need more than a single Ox here. We don't need to reanimate anything else. Just Ox is enough. As soon as we find Anger, we'll win the game through Hasty Zombies. My opponent is talking to me again. I will not answer that. When someone write something like F, what does that mean? I don't know. Actually, I don't know. But let's focus here. Cabal Therapy, sacrificing Poxwalkers. Let's see what my opponent has in there for Careful Study. Actually, you don't have Anger anymore, right? So, okay, they have Doubt, Animate Dead, and Tomb, Show and Tell. So, we cannot win the game now because we don't have Anger anymore. I opted to side Anger out, but that's fine. This time, we'll have enough tools to win, and my opponent doesn't have a Lifelinker. So, you cannot go after an Atraxa, my friend. You have only 2 lands. So, let's cast another Cabal Therapy, Animate that. And now, I believe my opponent cannot win anymore. But to be really safe, let's cast a Dredge Return just to have more and more zombies. So even against a Lifelinker, I think we will have the win next turn. Full Dredge power. Alright, it's just a 9-9. A 9-9 is not that big. Oh guys, now I'm realizing that. That means that we will start a 6-0. In the Legacy Showcase, we need only 1 more win. Unless my opponent has something weird here, like no Toxic Deluge. Oh no, they have only 2 lands, they cannot cast. They draw a land. They will probably attack with Archon, try to hit 1 more card, but what they can draw here? We can have more zombies, we can sacrifice a Poxwalkers here. So 2 more zombies for us. Brave Troll, can block with an Arcomoeba, with both, why not? And I think that's the win, guys. My opponent has 1 unknown card in their hand. Careful Study was the card. That's so tense. That victory means so much for me. We are so close. We won. We are so close, guys. We are so close. We need 1 more win to go to enter the top 8. Let's go. Alright, guys. We need 1 more win to enter the top 8 of this tournament. I believe if I win this, this is an incredible keep. If we win this, I can even lose my last 2 matches, and I will still be the top 8, I believe. Whew. My opponent is Helvetti, and this player is also 6-0. So let's start with Faithless Looting here. This is a solid turn 2. My opponent has a counterspell or anything, we can still cast Otherworldly Gaze and then Breakthrough. Okay, it resolved quickly. Let's discard 2 Dredgers, and now my opponent draws. They had a mulligan to 6. City of Traitors. Combo deck? Human Spirit guys, so maybe Prison? Yeah, oh, Blood Moon. So no Breakthrough. No breakthrough, no otherworldly gaze. But that's fine. My opponent used their resources, so now they have only a mountain. So we have 3 lands. We can cast Faithless Looting forever. Let's get this Narcomoeba and play a land and pass a turn. My opponent probably doesn't have something great to do on turn 2. Okay, another land. That's it. Thinking. Come on, come on. We need only one more win. Can you imagine if I lose everything? Oh, no, I cannot even think about it. I need one more win to be in my first, to get the entry, the token that is an entry to the Legacy Qualifier. Okay, so we'll Dredge 6. Opponent had no action. Great, we have 2 Grave Trolls. Let's cast Faithless Looting before attacking. In case we reveal an Anger. Dredge 6. Dredge 6. Therapy is here. Oh, we have Anger. Alright. So I think we'll have this game 1. Let's discard Cabal Therapy and Grave Troll. Yeah, we'll definitely have Lethal here because we have Dredge Return and Satoru. Let's see if my opponent will concede or if they want to see our deck. I will cast Dredge Return to bring back Satoru. We need 1 Poxwalkers to win the game for sure. So let's Dredge 6 and see if we can find a single Poxwalkers. Even without Poxwalkers, Dredge 6. Okay, no Poxwalkers, but we have another bridge there. And it was too much for my opponent. Had Cabal Therapies, right? So my opponent conceded. We won our first game, guys. Red Prison. It is harder after sideboarding because my opponent probably will have Leyline of the Void, so we need to include 5 bounce spells. And we could even include more than that. Before the last bans, Red Prison usually played not Leyline of the Void, but Ghostly Prison, Unlicensed Hearse, Fairy Macabre, so it was easier. I could include Silent Gravestones and Shenanigans, and that was it. But now they are playing Leyline of the Void again. So we have bounce spells into the Flute Maw and Curious Dismissal. We need to shave a little bit here, a little bit there. Our opponent can also have Chalice of the Void, so we can take 1 Careful Study, 1 Satoru, 1 Thassa's Oracle, Poxwalkers, and 1 Dredge Return. Let's keep Ox and Anger because I think if my opponent has Moon effects, those cards are good, and our bounce spells are good. One important thing to notice is that our bounce spells are blue, so having access to a basic island is good because my opponent can have a turn 1 Blood Moon. This hand doesn't have access to basics, but it's so good. My opponent kept 7. If my opponent has Leyline of... Okay, they don't have Leyline. If my opponent had Leyline of the Void, we could answer Leyline and then 2 breakthroughs. 2 breakthrough is also good. Are also good against Chalice of the Void because we cast breakthrough turns 2 and 3. Opponent is thinking 7 cards. We need to win 1 more game to enter the top 8 of this tournament. 8 of Traitors. Chalice on 1. Alright. Have breakthrough. We need to draw Dredgers and lands. Maybe LED. Draw. LED? Whoa. Great, great. Now we only need Dredgers for next turn. Our bounce spell unfortunately costs 1 mana. One has Chrome Mox. Printing what? Blood Moon. Oh, they have another one, right? Oh, Magus. Our great hand now is reduced to ashes. We need to top deck our single basic island in our deck. Poxwalkers is not a basic island. Do I play my Cephalid Coliseum? I think I will play Cephalid Coliseum here. One thing that we can do, because now we have 2 mountains, so if we find our Ox, we can cast Ox from our graveyard. We can here track LED for blue to cast 2 Otherworldly Gazes. Oh, they will get countered by Chalice, but the most important thing here is to bring back 1 Poxwalkers. Maybe I shouldn't do that. It's kind of early for that. Let's do it. I don't think we will have the win here. We need to top deck a basic island or Faithless Looting. Maybe I could have waited. I'm so eager to win. You know, guys, sometimes, and I'm recording this, so I'm getting excited, of course. But sometimes you need to stop to breathe. My opponent only attacks me dealing 2 damage. Maybe we can raise them with our Poxwalkers. Into the Flute Maw is not a good draw. Let's attack dealing 3 damage. My opponent has 4 mana, so they can probably cast whatever they draw. Oh, Paragon. It's over. It's over now. They deal 3 damage. Magus attacks. We'll draw. Underground Sea, another mountain. And another Magus. Yeah, so even after sideboarding, even knowing that we have a basic lands, my opponent kept both Blood Moon and Magus of the Moon. I think I will block Magus here. No, we need to block Pyrogoyf. Probably doesn't matter. Let's block Pyrogoyf. My opponent has 2 Magus. So we have at least more time to draw something. If we draw a basic island, we can cast Otherworldly Gaze just to get Poxwalkers back from our graveyard. And this way, if my opponent has a second Pyrogoyf, we can still have 1 extra turn. Draw, Scouting Turn, another mountain. Yeah, guys, Prison deck doing Prison things. Another thing that could be good here is if we draw a Dredger. Yeah, another Magus. My gameplay here wasn't accurate, guys, but it didn't matter because we couldn't hit a Dredger on time. Yeah, not a Dredger. So it didn't matter at the end. But if I should keep LED in play in case I draw a Dredger, so I could discard the Dredger and then find looting and Ox to cast from my graveyard. But we didn't find. I got too excited at that moment. Yeah, we can concede here. So let's focus, let's focus. We only need to win one game. Yeah, we had nothing on top. Do I change anything being on the play? Is anything here relevant? I think I can include a careful study instead of an otherworldly gaze being on the play. But we still need answers. My opponent had 0 ley lines the previous game, but I still think they play with ley lines. So let's skip our bounce spells. That's tempting, but no. Okay, this hand is pretty good. Unless my opponent has ley line. My opponent kept 7. I think I'll keep that. But if my... Yeah, I will not go to 5. This is a great hand. Against Moon Effect, it is good against Chalice of the Void. Oh, they have ley line. Now this otherworldly gaze needs to be really good. Find or one of our 5 bounce spells. I'm not sure if I can play around Magus or Blood Moon here. I just need to take the ground C so I can cast Cabal Therapy next turn. Okay, I won games like this in the past. I only need to search for my bounce spell. So let's grab Underground C. I'll cast Otherworldly Gaze. Those are not bounce spells. Great cards, but can I keep LED and wait one more turn? Because if I top deck something, LED is so good, I can discard my hand to LED. I can even cast Breakthrough with X equals to 2 if I top deck another land. And I think I will just play LED here to guarantee a way to discard, like game. And now I'll cast a Blind Cabal Therapy targeting my opponent. I have 2 choices here. One of them is Magus of the Moon. The other one is Chalice. Oh, they have Blood Moon and Chalice. Oh, and they have ways to cast Chalice. We will lose the game, guys. Cannot win now against Chalice of the Void on turn 2 plus Leyline of the Void. Let's concede. We need one more match now. Next round, guys, we are paired against the Eternal Weekend winner, Larson. I believe he is Swedish. And I guess, I'm not sure. And this is a Cephalid Breakfast master. So we are paired against the world champion. Yeah, they have Shuko. They kept 7 cards, so we can maybe lose on turn 2, even with this hand here, even with Cephalid Coliseum. My opponent has the combo on turn 2, they will just win the game. This deck is that powerful. I don't have Cabal Therapy, so let's try to resolve Faithless Looting. Solving, okay. If my opponent doesn't have the combo kill on turn 2, we'll stand a chance. Misty Rainforest, exit. Come on, Larson, don't combo kill me. Let me have another turn. Okay, let's see what my opponent is playing. I believe this is Nadu. They don't have green mana yet, but this is probably Nadu. Every Cephalid Breakfast lately has been playing Nadu. Okay, Hedge Maze, Ponder, Nadu. Nadu is there. Force to Plowshares, Surveil Lands, Urza Saga, combo, Dredge Return, Ponder Days, the Fairy. When you know the metagame, guys, it's important Shuko is there. It's important to see if you recognize some difference between different Nadu builds. For example, my opponent has 2 Prismatic Ending. What does that mean? You see? Trying to understand. My opponent is going to the very bottom of their deck. Thassa's Oracle. I see only 1 Thassa's Oracle. Is that correct? Yeah. And 2 Prismatic Ending. So yeah, we lost. We had no chance there. Maybe if we had an LED. And I'm not sure if I told you at the intro. I'm not playing that many Silent Gravestones anymore. Even if I had them, my opponent has 2 Prismatic Endings. So my opponent is prepared to exile my artifacts. But I will definitely include them being on the play or on the draw. Because my opponent's graveyard hate probably targets cards. My opponent's win condition also targets a card in graveyard. So my opponent wins with Dredge Return. Nadu gets back to the metagame. Breakfast. I will probably go back to 3 or even 4 copies of Silent Gravestone. Now what? Satoru. I would like to have Satoru yet being on the play, but I want to put Gravestones, and I don't think we will win with Thassa's Oracle against this deck. They will be prepared against us. They will have a graveyard hate. They will have a fast combo. So let's include 4 Consign to Memory. Consign to Memory can counter Thassa's Oracle trigger. My opponent has a turn 2 combo kill again. It is not spectacular Consign to Memory here. I'm inclined to not include Consign to Memory against Nadu Breakfast. It's been a while since my last time playing against this deck. Consigns can be good against other stuff. If my opponent, for example, casts Ghost Vacuum or something, we can even counter that. Maybe we can try some no fear strategy here. Let's just submit the deck back without any changes, because this gives us more chances to win on turn 1 or turn 2. My opponent keeps fast combo kill like they did in the previous game. This gives us a little bit more range. You see, this is interesting because we don't have Dredgers yet, but we have Faithless Looting plus Breakthrough. And my opponent after sideboarding will probably have even more counter spells. So I'll keep that. We have 3 enablers here. and also Cabal Therapy if we find a fetch land or underground sea. My opponent is going to 6. This matchup is a little bit harder than others. I would prefer to not face Larson at this point of the tournament. I only need 1 win to enter the top 8. Let's see. My opponent has 6 cards. I will cast Otherworldly Gaze on their upkeep, on his upkeep, because I think it is more reliable. We will see 1 extra card here, and we are also playing around Force of Negation at this time. So, okay, I like the lands. If my opponent kept a slow start, I'm inclined to keep both lands. We can keep Underground Sea on top, I believe. This way you can cast Cabal Therapy targeting my opponent. If they don't play 1 combo piece on turn 1, we can even cast Otherworldly Gaze again, instead of going for looting. My opponent has a Hage Maze. Force of Negation. They don't want Force of Negation. Maybe they already have 1. We draw our Underground Sea. Let's cast Cabal Therapy targeting my opponent. But I'm not sure about what to name here. Very Macabre. My opponent kept 6. Oh, okay, they have forces. Oh, Memory's Journey. I think, guys, we need to play into Force of Negation here. Because next turn my opponent will hold Journey. Yeah, they don't want Ponder. They have the combo piece, but unless they have something amazing in their hand, they draw something good. I believe they will probably keep Journey open as display flooded strand. Because Journey can protect their graveyard, but also to protect, to forces us to shuffle important cards from our graveyard or deck. Let's see if they have something. They can play Shuko here and keep Journey only as a pitch to force. Okay, maybe they will do something. They're cracking for the strand for Tundra. Please play Shuko. Please play Shuko. Okay, they will hold Memory's Journey. That's smart. We will draw our Cephalic Coliseum. I could play super defensively here, just playing Cephalic Coliseum and casting Breakthrough with X equals to 0 and pass the turn. This is something that I can do just to reach a threshold. But my opponent seems to be playing defensively, so maybe we can try to play for a win, not lose the game, I mean. I can play Cephalic Coliseum and pass the turn. I can also cast Poxwalkers just to take that Memory's Journey from my opponent's hand, or maybe interesting. I could have so many opportunities, so many lines. The correct line here is something that we will only know after seeing what my opponent has in play. I think I'll try Breakthrough with X equals to 0. If we find a Dredger, we can pass the turn and even crack Cephalic Coliseum in response to Memory's Journey. My opponent has a blue card in their hand, they can just cast Force of Will, countering our Breakthrough. Then we can cast Otherworldly Gaze again. My opponent counters that, we can cast Nakomoiba and then cast Cabal Therapy targeting them to grab. Okay, it resolved. So everything is going to the graveyard. Now what? If I cast something, Poxwalkers enters the battlefield, my opponent will force me to shuffle Poxwalkers anyways. Again, I can play defensively here, just holding a Cephalic Coliseum, but I think I will try to play for a win here, guys. This will force my opponent to use Memory's Journey. Maybe this is just the bad... The thing is, Cephalic Coliseum is not a game-winning move against my opponent if they are holding Memory's Journey, right? They can cast Memory's Journey in response to... So if I just keep Cephalic Coliseum open, my opponent, if they need to go further to the very bottom of their deck trying to win, they can cast Memory's Journey and put some extra cards in, they will not lose. Shuffle some cards from their graveyard in the deck. So I'm betting here that they don't have... Okay, they will cast Memory's Journey. I'm betting here that they don't have the combo. We need 1 more turn to win this game. We need to find something good with this Otherworldly Gaze, and next turn we'll have Cephalic Coliseum. Do I keep a Breakthrough on top? I think I will keep it on top. We can play more or less the same thing next turn. My opponent still has a Force of Will. We can crack Cephalic Coliseum, and then we can have opportunity to cast Breakthrough. My opponent plays Shuko, okay? Oh, yeah. Let's see. My opponent has a Force of Will there, so we know this is not Thassa's Oracle. My opponent has the win here, guys. That means that our chances to enter the top 8 are getting incredibly low, because now I will only enter the top 8 with the right tiebreakers. I did 6-0, and then I lost 2 matches in a row. My opponent has Fire Macabre, I knew it. 3 fairies. What else? Fairy, Forces, Force of Negation, Memory's Journey, and now they win with Thassa's Oracle. Yeah, I could play more conservatively here, but yeah, with Force of Will and the combo in their hand, it wasn't our time to win. Let's see, 1 more. Alright, guys, round 9. We are on the play against Termidor. And this hand could be better, let's mulligan. Okay, this is not the best hand, but we at least have 3 lands and we can cast Otherworldly Gaze twice if my opponent has a counterspell. Cephalic Coliseum is great. Let's put Bridge from Below on the bottom. Try this hand. In Otherworldly Gaze, I trust. Card is good, and it will find me a Dredgers. Let's get a basic island, in case my opponent has Wasteland. We are not facing Grixis Delver or is it Delver, right? We faced only 2 Reanimator decks and no Eldrazi decks as well. Okay, we have Dredgers. It resolved pretty quickly. We don't need anything. So we have Grave Troll and Sync with Imp. Next turn we'll crack Cephalid Coliseum. Guys, to enter the top 8, we need to win here. One has Volcanic and Ponder. Okay, maybe finally is an easy Delver. We need to win here and to have good standings, good brackets, good... how can I say that? Well, you understand what I mean. We need to focus here and have a win. Preferably a 2-0 win. Because termidor is Dredge. Okay, 2 Narcos. Termidor is lower than me on the standings. So I was spared down a little bit. So we need to win here to have a chance to get the last place. Dredge 5. Dredge 6. Let's focus here. Let's not think about the tournament. Let's Dredge 5. We have Cabal Therapy, Focus Walkers, Dredge Return. We don't have the win here because we cannot reanimate one of our combo pieces, but we have so many Cabal Therapies that we will probably have the win anyways. Let's see what our opponent's playing, unless they up here. Here we have 3 Poxwalkers, only 1 Breach. Is resolving. Let's name Brainstorm. My opponent had a Ponder. Oh, okay, Show and Tell with the 1 Ring and Sneak Attack. So this is a Sneak and Show. We are favored to win against Sneak and Show. I like this. I like our chances. We have 2 Cabal Therapies. My opponent didn't shuffle that Ponder, right? So I think they have something good on top. Let's take Show and Tell. And just in case this is another Show and Tell on top, I think we need to force them to discard that Traxa here. Usually I would name the 1 Ring or Sneak Attack, but they kept the card on top, so let's name a Traxa. Maybe they have another Show and Tell. And now they cannot play Sneak Attack or the 1 Ring unless they have Demon Spirit Guide or something. I could cast... Okay, my opponent considered. I could cast a Dredge Return there, but... I don't think it was it. I like to save Dredge Return in case we find Satoru or... Okay, a single Shenanigans is something that I am including against the Sneak and Show because some players have a single or 2 copies of Gravedigger's Cage. So let's have 1 Shenanigans, why not? And I'll side out 1 Poxwalkers. Let's concentrate here. We need to win this to have a chance. There is a card, I believe it is from Tempest. Not sure. Meditate. Draw several cards, but you... Let's meditate. And we can skip our next turn because we can win. Turn. I'll keep this because my opponent will probably have counter spells. My opponent is going down to 5. And if they counter our first looting, we'll have another one. Again, this is not the best hand, considering that my opponent can have a super fast combo. I would... Okay, just scouting time. I would prefer to have LED, of course. Second land is solid. We could even start with Cabal Therapy, a blind Cabal Therapy targeting my opponent. But I think I will play into their counter spells here. Especially because they had a mulligan to 5. Okay, there is some action. Thundering Fall, so they have daze. If they daze us here, that's a win. Fine. Okay, they don't want Force of Will. Fine, because it means that they probably cannot combo on turn 2. Unless they have Simian Spirit Guide. Okay, they are just replaying Thundering Falls. We can play around days next turn. They don't want a Traxa. Alright. Have Otherworldly Gaze. Could cast a Cabal Therapy here. Maybe after my looting, right? Let's grab Underground Sea. No, let's start with looting. I don't think my opponent... Yeah, resolved too quickly. Let's discard 2 Dredgers. Nadu is clicking on the cards, I promise. Okay, we discarded. And now I'll cast Cabal Therapy targeting my opponent. I believe the name is Show and Tell. Show and Tell. Oh, 2 Emeralds and a Sneak Attack. Okay, next turn we need to take that Sneak Attack from my opponent's hand. It's mandatory. They had a Brainstorm on top. Good thing is that we have a Cabal Therapy in our hand. If we reveal a single Narcomoeba, we can cast it twice. Thing is, this Brainstorm from my opponent will put something on top, so they will hide something. Oh, they found an Ancient Tomb. So what do they have on top? Miracle or Sneak Attack? Let's Dredge 6. Have 1 shot here. I'll say Sneak Attack. I prefer to name the enablers, not the threats. Situation like this. So Sneak Attack. Ding ding ding. My opponent had also Show and Tell. So, and Force of Negations. So if I cast this Otherworldly Gaze, I believe my opponent will not counter. If my opponent resolves Show and Tell, we can even win the game here. Guys, I see the line. I see the line. Cephalid Coliseum on top. I will not anticipate what is going to happen here, but I think you already noticed, right? My opponent has Emrakul on top, probably, because they had a draw 3 and they had an Ancient Tomb. So they put 2 cards on back. One of them, okay, they play City. Yeah, Show and Tell is resolving, and we have Ox. Let's see if I'm correct. Yeah, Ox against Emrakul. Who is stronger? The Ox? Dredge 6 and Dredge 6. And now we have a Cephalid Coliseum in our hand. Dredge Return, Poxwalkers. Yeah. We're gonna win this. Dredge 6. 2 Narcos. We didn't need Narcos, but now our creatures have haste. We can win with Thassa's Oracle, probably. We need to find Thassa's Oracle. But with the Cephalid Coliseum plus 2 Dredge Returns, yeah, we can win Thassa's Oracle, but we can also win by attacking. Let's concentrate. Let's meditate. We don't need an extra turn. We can win this turn. Have 1 Force of Negation in their hand. They cannot do anything against. So let's crack Cephalid Coliseum. We'll Dredge 6. Dredge 5. We will Dredge 5. Okay, Thassa's Oracle is there. Echo enters. Let's cast a Cabal Therapy, targeting my opponent, sacrificing Ox. This way, I will have more than lethal both ways. I have zombies, but I can also return Thassa's Oracle to the battlefield, and we will have, doesn't matter what to name, but let's name Force of Negation, why not? And I will have Devotion equals to 5. We have 4 cards left in our library. But we could win here just by attacking. I just want to win the combo we can choose. So a bunch of zombies with haste, but we don't need them. We can win with the combo. Yeah, I would like that Nakamura, please. And we won the game. Okay, guys, now this was a fast match. We won in 30 minutes. We are here next to the top 8, but we need some luck here. There are so many matches still happening. I believe if my next players, the players next to me, lose, 2 of them lose, maybe 3, we can enter the top 8. Let's see. Guys, I did it. We are starting the top 8, you see. I got the last place here, thanks to... I only lost to the first rank and the second rank, Helvetti and Larsen. So that probably helped me to grab that last place. Now we are playing on the draw against a strong player. We lost to them, but the most important thing was to enter the top 8. So even if we lose here... Okay, let's play to win, of course. I will keep this hand, have LED and Cabal Therapy on the draw, and 2 lands. I will play for a win, of course, but even if we lose here, the most important thing for me, it was to enter the top 8, because now I have that invitation to play super strong tournament. My opponent plays a Chrome Mox with Fury. I'm so happy. Magus of the Moon. I don't care, you can play Magus. I'm super happy. Let's play for a win here. Breakthrough, I cannot cast it. That's fine. That's fine. I wasn't recording before this game, of course, but I was screaming here. I was that happy to enter the top 8. This is my first time getting there. Important. My opponent plays a mountain and attacks. Let's see if we can top deck a Faithless Looting. Oh, a basic island! Finally, we couldn't win previously against Helvetti because we needed to top deck our basic island against the Moon. But now we will have more chances to win this game. Let's crack LED for red mana. Actually, maybe for blue mana, right? Because we already have a red mana there. Yeah, this way we can cast Otherworldly Gaze or Looting according to what we reveal here. Dredge 6, Dredge 5, so far nothing. Okay, we have Looting. Let's discard everything. We have Cabal Therapy, we have Satoru, we have Dredge Return. Yeah, guys, we will win on turn 2, even against my opponent's Magus of the Moon on turn 1. We'll Dredge 6. And being on the draw, that's super important, because now we have 2 extra games to win this. Get our revenge. What to name with this Cabal Therapy? My opponent has 3 cards in their hands. It is something... Okay, my opponent concedes. We won. And we will have the win here. We have another Cabal Therapy and then Dredge Return. We'll have the win. So what? Same thing, right? We don't need ley lines or shenanigans. So let's include 5 bounce spells. And I will take Thassa's Oracle, Satoru out, 1 Boxwalkers, 1 Careful Study, 1 Dredge Return. Yeah, include 5 cards. I prefer to keep Otherworldly Gazes, especially on the draw. Because if my opponent has Leyline and I have an answer plus Otherworldly Gaze, is... Oh! Okay, now you're talking. My opponent is going to 6 cards. This can win, guys. If my opponent doesn't have a Blood Moon effect on turn 1, this can win. Can bounce a Leyline, my opponent has 1, and then we can proceed to win the game with Lion's Eye Diamond. 2 Lion's Eye Diamond plus Cephalid Breakfast plus Otherworldly Gaze is a winning combo. We can cast Otherworldly Gaze twice, trying to hit the Dredger, and then winning the game with Cephalid Coliseum. Of course, we don't need to go all in. Let's see if my opponent is deciding here. Okay, they kept 6 cards. They have a Leyline. Let's hope for no Blood Moon on turn 1. Just a tapped land. No, basic mount. Okay. Okay. Let's meditate. LED. We have our Dredger. If it wasn't for Leyline, this was a turn 1 win. But now that my opponent has Leyline, let's hope for no Chalice. Please, no Chalice. But if my opponent has a Chalice of the Void, I will not... I will probably win anyways, because we can discard our hand for blue. Then cracking Cephalid Coliseum. Okay, Blood Moon. Blood Moon. So this will be harder than we thought. At least we can... Opponent has a fish token. It will be harder, but it is doable. Let's yield until the end step. We can crack LED. Doesn't matter now or later. Let's do on our upkeep, because maybe we can use the... We reveal another Otherworldly Gaze, for example. We can cast it before our draw step. So let's cast Otherworldly Gaze here. We have 2 mana. Do I keep Cephalid Coliseum? I don't think so. Now we only want to find Ox or Faithless Looting, right? Those are the cards that matter. So let's Dredge. We already have a Cabal Therapy. We only need 1 more card. Oh, unfortunately, no flashback cards. I would like to force my opponent to discard Leyline of the Void, because I lost once or twice against decks in this is exactly scenario. My opponents sometimes have 2 Chrome Ox, and then they have black mana to replay Leyline of the Void. Okay, this isn't the case. My opponent has Roadside Bombardiers. That's an interesting thing. My opponent opted to keep Leyline of the Void instead of... Okay, maybe because they also have double red cards with double red mana cost. Okay, that's the reason. Let's see if my opponent wants to get rid of my single breach from below. They need to sacrifice that fish, cause 2 more damage. They will probably do that. They have 2 cards in their hand. One of them is Leyline of the Void. Yeah, my opponent does that, but we'll probably win as soon as we find a Faithless Looting. Oh, no looting. We are on 14 life. My opponent has something like the One Ring, Pyrogoyf, Fury. This can be over. 2 turns. So I'll wait 1 more turn here. Our basic island is already there, so we don't need to go. Okay, 3 mana, another broadside. Okay, this is not the worst. We need to reveal Faithless Looting next turn. Our opponent cannot win this turn. They will cause 4 more damage. If they want to hit us with Blood Moon, it's fine. They want to hit us with Chromox, also fine, we will not lose. Alright, Dredge 6, Faithless Looting. And Chunar Kumuiba. Have Cabal Therapy, Poxwalkers, 2 Cabal Therapies. Let's crack LED for red. And now Faithless Looting, Poxwalkers enters the battlefield. With Dredge 6, let's find something more. Another Poxwalkers, another therapy. Ox is there. Ox is there to save the day. Let's concentrate, let's not misclick or something. I will click on Ox, calmly. Yeah, clicking each card. Each time, yeah. My opponent pressed F6, so everything is happening. Ox is drawing 3, we will Dredge 6. We Dredge 6, now we have 2 extra bridges, finally. No anger, let's Dredge 6. Oh, anger is there, okay. We'll win by attacking this turn, guys. About therapy, sacrificing Poxwalkers, 2 zombies with haste, 5, 6, 8, 9, 9 power in play. Let's name Leyline of the Void. Oh, and they also have Pyrogoyf. Needed 1 extra mana. Have 1, 2, 3 therapies. I believe this is enough, right? Therapy, 2 extra zombies for damage, 12 damage, yeah. That's enough, guys. We will win this. On turn 4, let's name Pyrogoyf. Against the Leyline, against Blood Moon, and 2 Broadside Bombardiers. About therapy targeting us, why not? My opponent is not conceding. There's always hope that we can lose this game somehow. We will not. We already have 7 zombies and an Ox. We need 1 more therapy here to win the game. Yeah, let's do the math here. Let's do the math. Let's pay attention. Have to win, right? Is this a reality? We are getting into the top 4. Let's name anything. Yeah, we don't have anything else to do. And now we attack for lethal. Carefully, carefully. Yeah, we have 4, 6. Let's attack. Ooh, 21 damage, right? We won. We won the game, guys. We are in the top 4. Even if we lose this, that would be already pretty good. But we did it. We won 2-0. We got our revenge. And now let's see who else we're going to play against. Alright, top 4. I would say that in Portuguese, top 4. Top 4. But our dreams are probably over, guys, to get into the finals. Okay, our dream is fulfilled already. But this is Moonmadness. Moonmadness is a friend of mine here from Brazil, Bruno, and is a Mulligan. And okay, this is a keep. We need that Dredger, but this can win on turn 2. My opponent plays usually lands or depths. Usually green-white depths with Elvish Reclaimer, Crop Rotation, Jukabog, times Knight of the Reliquary. This is one of our hardest matchups. They also have Endurance. My opponent, he's a great player. My opponent is restarting. Fine. He is a great player. We played against each other in Brazilian Nationals, and we are talking with each other here. We're chatting about maybe getting into the finals, the Brazilian Fellas finals of this challenge. Fortunately, we met before that. For starters, if you never played Dredge in Legacy before, this is one of our hardest, like 20% of winning rate, 15. It is that bad, especially after sideboarding. We are on the play, so that's good news. I will keep this hand without Dredgers, but this hand is so good. So good if we can find a Dredger and my opponent starts with Forest. And this is an easy decision here. We will sideboard Thassa's Oracle to the bottom. Let's wait our opponent. Bruno and I have something in common. Not only the fact that we are from Brazil. We are passionate about our decks. He usually plays with depths variants. I usually play with Dredge. He is the Merit Lich guy. Okay, opponent kept 7. We start with Island and Otherworldly Gaze. Let's cast this immediately. It hit our Dredger. I'll keep 1 Volcanic Island on top. And let's play LED, why not? Because my opponent may be playing, I don't know, some variant with black and Thoughtseize. You never know. I'm not sure actually if he is playing with that today, but I believe he is. He's a specialist. Yeah, Yevi Maya, Mox Diamond. Please, a Sylvan Library. Sylvan Library, please. But do they have a Green Sanzania? That means my opponent probably has Crop Rotation in his hand. So now we need to force him to cast that crop. Let's cast Careful Study here without revealing that we have what. Okay, Let this go. We'll dredge 6, and that's it. You know what? Let's not discard Golgargrave Troll here. Let's keep our dredgers so we can rebuild easily after that. Have one Narcomoeba waiting to enter the battlefield, so we have Cabal Therapy there. If I cast Cabal Therapy targeting my opponent because of that Narcomoeba, aiming crop rotation just to be sure, and then we can even win the game with Breakthrough and Lion's Eye Diamond. Guys, it is so weird, but I think I will discard Satoru plus Cephalid Coliseum here. Yeah, this is the line. This is super not intuitive. I'm clicking the cards, I promise. Something is happening. We could put Volcanic. Oh, I clicked Volcanic. Guys, I clicked Cephalid Coliseum here. There. Yeah, this is probably something that Modo is dealing with. I clicked Cephalid Coliseum many times and it didn't happen for some reason. But okay, my opponent had Bojuka Bog and it will also work. But I needed that mounting to give my creatures haste. But that's fine, you can still win here. Let's crack for red mana. Dredge 6, 5, let's find the looting. Looting is there, great. Dredge 6 again, and Dredge 4. We did, oh, Anger is there. We did what we wanted to do. Let's resolve Faithless Looting. Now we need to cast several Cabal Therapies. We have only one. We had 1, 2 therapies. The therapies are probably enough. I think I will name a second crop rotation there. We have a bunch of zombies. Our creatures doesn't have haste, but we can win with Thassa's Oracle next turn because we have Dredge Return. So if we need Thassa's Oracle, we can do that on turn 3. I think I will still name crop rotation because my opponent has other utility lands. So we could also Trust to Plowshare, Princess Zenith, name crop rotation. It's usually the best we can name. Okay, Knight of the Reliquary and Legolas's Quick Reflexes. None of them is that good at this spot because we will have Lethal next turn. But I believe we can guard my opponent's Knight of the Reliquary. Okay, my opponent conceded. We won game 1, guys. This is huge. Winning game 1 against Green-White Depths, or Naya Depths, I'm not sure. It's huge. Huge. Now we need to survive 1 game. Silent Gravestone can be good because my opponent probably plays cards like Surgical or Fairy and even Keen-Eyed Curator. I don't have any answers to Endurance, but Consign to Memory can maybe counter an Endurance's trigger. Other option is just to play with we have, instead of Watering Down or Dredge Return Plan. It did work on game 1. My opponent had an answer, and we won anyways. Playing around it, in the right choices at the right time. If I include Silent Gravestone and Consign to Memory, I'll probably side out Thassa's Oracle and Satoru and Dredge Return and 1 Poxwalkers, like I did before in this tournament. But playing in the Brazilian National Legacy November, it was in November, yeah. I played against a Depths player and I won. I won when I did 0 sideboarding. Like, you know what? Bring what you have. I will also bring what I have. I will not do anything differently. And I won that game. So maybe what we need here is just not sideboard. Not sideboarding. No sideboarding. I will try, guys. We won game 1. I imagine that my opponent will have Surgicals and everything. But they already are so good. He is already so good against us. With crop rotations and Elvish Reclaimers and probably 1 or 2 Endurances. We will be on the draw. Need to win 1 game to go to the finals. Oh, this hand is so tempting. My opponent starts with Elvish Reclaimer and we top deck a Dredger. We can win on turn 1. He kept 7 cards. Bruno, what do you have? Anything but Elvish Reclaimer. I can deal with a crop rotation, but Elvish Reclaimer is hard. Okay, Mox Diamond, and that's it. My opponent definitely has crop rotation. He always has crop rotation. Always. Now what? Oh, Narcomoeba is our worst draw. Let's play Volcanic Island here, because if at this moment is our worst land. You know what? I'll play Cephalid Coliseum instead, because the thing is, if my opponent uses a Wasteland to destroy Volcanic Island and we top deck Faithless Looting, I'll be so sad. So Cephalid Coliseum is our better land here, but Volcanic Island, my opponent doesn't want Maze of it. That's good. But Volcanic Island is the best land that guarantees us a good winning road if we have the top deck. So let's open that possibility. Okay, no Wasteland. Yeah, my opponent is holding Crop or Endurance there, or both. The ground C, Oxophagonas. We could go for it here. I could cast Breakthrough and then Oxophagonas, and we will end this turn with 5-3 play and 3 cards in our hand. But let's wait 1 more turn. 1 more. Because if we draw something better than what we already have, any fetch land, Underground Sea, Faithless Looting, even a second LED will be good. Otherworldly Gaze can be good, tempt my opponent. Okay, they have crop rotation, they have the combo now. So we cannot wait anymore. Otherworldly Gaze, okay, good. We can tempt our opponent to doing his thing, I'm sorry. He's my friend, I know him. So let's cast Otherworldly Gaze here. Bulgari Thug, Poxwalkers is Scouting turn. The thing is, I know that my opponent has crop rotation. It is like obvious. But if they have marital age, it doesn't mean that my opponent also has a removal tonight. So I think I will do that. I will just let them create marital age. Then we will block it with Narcomoeba. If they have Source of Plowshares, we'll go up to 21, so we will not die. And if they have a second crop rotation, then he has a second crop rotation. We were lost anyways. My opponent could grab a Bujagabok at any moment. Yeah, Surgery Step is there. Yeah, I played around 1 crop. I didn't play around 2 crops. So my opponent attacks for lethal. But for a moment there, I felt like we could do this. Almost there. Okay, now being on the play. Let's admit, right? If I had no changes being on the draw, I will have no changes being on the play. Some players may be tempted to include bounce spells, but I don't think they are that useful against depth anymore. In the past, when Legacy was slower than today, maybe it could be good. Could be a good idea to include not into the football. We had no footballs some years ago, but Chain of Vapor or Missile Effects. But I don't think we need to dilute our strategy, including bounce spells these days. We need consistency. Not good, right? That's mulligan. Okay, let's think. We can probably not win on turn 1. If this Otherworldly Gaze finds us a Faithless Looting, we can win on turn 1. This would be amazingly at 7, but now it's only good. It's because I want all of those cards. The thing is here, guys, I can cast Otherworldly Gaze and then I cast it again with LED. So I can have Poxwalkers and Chookaball Therapies, and I am manipulating the top of my library if I don't hit Faithless Looting. My opponent kept 7 cards. So both Cabal Therapies are really good. And Poxwalkers, and Otherworldly Gaze, and Island, and LED. That means the worst card is Tinquidimp. You see, when you play this Dredge build, you must think about every possible scenario. This is super competitive, but you really need to think. I'll keep it and I'll put Tinquidimp back. Guys, I can lose this doing that, but I think this will give me the best chance to win the game. So let's cast Otherworldly Gaze. Looting on top or Cephalid Coliseum on top. Cephalid Coliseum is also good. LED is also good, but I don't want to keep 2 cards. Let's think. I will definitely crack LED now to get Poxwalkers and 2 therapies. I think I need the mana, right? Let's keep Cephalid Coliseum on top, at least for now. And then after casting this second Otherworldly Gaze, let's see what else we have after Cephalid Coliseum here. Okay, we have Thug. So Thug is going to our graveyard. And we have 2 Coliseums. Let's put one of them into our graveyard and let's keep the second on top. Now we'll cast our first Cabal Therapy. Walkers enters the battlefield, and I will name Crop Rotation. Okay, guys, we have a chance. Hey, we have a chance. My opponent kept 2 crop rotations and we took both of them. We don't even need to cast the second Cabal Therapy now. We can wait 1 more turn, then see how this goes. My opponent cannot cast Knight of the Reliquary on turn 2. That's impossible. We could... No, let's wait. We have a Cephalid Coliseum on top. Let's wait. Then we can cast Cabal Therapy next turn, and then on turn 3 we can crack Cephalid Coliseum. Yeah, so let's pass the turn here. Let's be patient. Oh, I have a headache growing my head. My opponent has a fetch land. I need to get some rest. This tournament is so long. Savannah and Green Sun Zenith. Okay, so my opponent can cast Knight of the Reliquary next turn. Because of that, we need to take that card. And I will not reveal that I have Cephalid Coliseum. Let's attack first, right? Maybe my opponent blocks and then we will crack Cephalid Coliseum. I don't think we do, but he will do. But yeah, now we will take that Knight of the Reliquary from my hand. Knight of the Reliquary. Now my opponent has Boseiju. I have a basic island, that's good. Thespian Stage and Quick Reflexes. My opponent can cast Quick Reflexes to kill his own Dried Arbor to exile or bridge it. This is a sneaky card. He can cast this, targeting Dried Arbor. Then he can kill Dried Arbor just to exile my bridges. So let's observe that possibility here. He will Dredge 4. Please, another Dredger, please. Yeah, quick draw. Attack first. Yeah, I think my opponent will not block with Arbor, especially because of that possibility. My opponent is a good player. He definitely is aware about that interaction. So let's play Cephalid Coliseum and crack it, targeting us. Okay, it's resolving, so Dredge 6, Dredge 5. My opponent could have another crop rotation. That would be game winning. Have Dredge return, 2 bridges, have Anger but no mountains. This is the moment that my opponent will probably fire that Quick Reflex. Let's see if he saw that, because we don't have Cabal Therapy or ways to sacrifice our creatures now. Okay, my opponent's turn now. He has 2 unknown cards. Boseiju is useless here. They play Boseiju. Makes sense. And Reclaimer. Oh gosh. We have 1 turn, guys. We have 1 turn. At least to put a great amount of power in the battlefield. This is game 3. It's our last chance. Okay. Try to top deck something. Our chances are pretty low. We don't have LEDs anymore. So let's Dredge. Ooh, trainer Komoibas. Now it's good because even if my opponent activates casts Legolas's quick reflexes, we will still have 3 creatures and Arcomoiba. So we can cast Dredge Return to reanimate Satoru, trying to hit one more Cabal Therapy or something. My opponent cannot counter that action. My opponent can exile our bridges. This is something that they can do. He can do. I'm pretty nervous. Seems like this is what is happening. Yeah, my opponent sees that line. That's the action. Now Dried Arbor will die, and our 2 bridges will also go to exile. Weird. I don't know who is going to win. It's a great game of Magic. Oh, my opponent, I'm chatting here with Bruno. He thinks that I am going to win. I think he's going to win. We are friendly, reminding that the opponent is ahead. To win here, we need to really chain some action. We need to put several... Well, we'll have 2 3 menace, 2 Poxwalkers. My opponent can create a Merit Ledge next turn. We need to push some damage here. We don't have Anger, unfortunately. If we had a Volcanic Island, my opponent would just cast Boseiju. That's it, so let's not cry about it. We don't have too much action left in our deck. Let's see what we can find. We'll dredge 6. That's it. And that's it. Our last bridge is there, but no therapies. We'll pass a turn. My opponent cannot win. This is a super interesting situation because my opponent needs to find Dark Depths, maybe Yavimaya to win. But if he taps Elvish Reclaimer to do so, to put the Bojuka Bog in play, we can attack, dealing almost lethal. My opponent needs something really good here. Maybe if he top decks Bojuka Bog, he can play Bojuka Bog and then activate Elvish Reclaimer trying to get Merit Ledge. If he has Source of Plowshares, but he needs something. If he can't find something good, we can win through it. Oh, Dark Depth. Yeah, now my opponent has the combo. If we don't pressure my opponent, he will just go to the combo and then the jury step and win, like he did game 2. I'm provoking my opponent here. Like, come on, fetch Bojuka Bog. Come on, I dare you. Yeah, so Dredge 6. We have Dredge Return here. I think I will attack. Okay, guys, if I have Narcomoeba and Stinkweed Imp as blockers, my opponent cannot win with a single Sigiri step. So let's attack first. And if my opponent taps out to create 2020, I can cast Dredge Return to reanimate Stinkweed Imp purely as a blocker. Yeah? My opponent has 1 card in his hand. Okay, the Elvish Reclaimer is a 3/4, so my opponent can block Satoru with both creatures and takes 7 damage, something he can do. Or maybe he prefers to block only Narcomoeba, or... Let's see. Now what? My opponent is thinking here. Ooh. We don't have any other play. Nothing in our hand. Our only play is... Okay, my opponent blocks an Narcomoeba. That means probably Elvish Reclaimer will not block anything, and we will deal 8 damage. My opponent will go down to 5. Then I cast Dredge Return, getting Stinkweed Imp back. Both Poxwalkers enter the battlefield again. I need to sacrifice Satoru. And then we have lethal anyways. My opponent will need a top deck to win. I don't think they have one. Oh, we even have another zombie, of course. Oh, yeah, we even have more zombies because I will have this breach from below. Let's do it. This is the winning line. Stinkweed Imp. I can even keep Satoru in play because now I can sacrifice the zombie token. For a moment I forgot that I still had a breach from below. Let's check. Don't have anything else, right? We have 2 therapies deep down in our deck. So if I return Stinkweed Imp, maybe I can find those therapies. Okay, so let's sacrifice you, and you. Because Poxwalkers will enter the battlefield again. And maybe I can check for traps. I can check my opponent's hand with both therapies. Even having more zombies. Okay, Satoru trigger. Let's dredge 4. Okay, another Poxwalker's there. Zorko is there. We have 6 cards in our deck. We have 2 therapies left. So let's dredge 5 then. We could draw here, but... Okay, we have both Cabal therapies there. Even Poxwalker is there. What? What just happened? Where is my Stinkweed Imp? Then is removed because it has no legat. Guys, I messed up. I tried to return Stinkweed Imp, but Satoru triggered, and then I dredged by accident the same Stinkweed Imp that I was trying to reanimate. Oh no, I'm chatting with my opponent here. That's a shame. Because now we have only... It looks like we are still fine, but my opponent can just grab a Sigiri step. Unless they... I'm asking my opponent if he has an out now, just to be curious. Because if he has Sigiri step in his deck, he can just grab it with Elvish Reclaimer. Or anything else. Maybe the other land that I have 20 life, 2 blockers of different colors. My opponent told me that he has a Source of Plowshares. So we have 2 Cabal therapies here. Yeah, it doesn't matter, guys. You see, long tournaments, I need more stamina. Okay, I will tell my opponent that I will do what I would do anyways, just to show what would be my play. But yeah, if he has any land to grab with Elfish Reclaimer, now that I misclicked. You see guys, long tournaments must train your mind for scenarios like this. Such a situation that I would never miss. Never missed situations like this before, but fine. I will not name anything here because we have has only okay, they have prismatic and not plow. So let's cast Cabal Therapy there. We have more than lethal. I don't think my opponent could come back from this if I had Stink with Imp play. Yeah, he was also surprised. He told me here that I would win anyways. Okay, let's see. My opponent will probably win here. Draw some Mox Diamond. Okay. What? Guys, my opponent conceded. My opponent conceded. Bruno conceded. We are in the finals against Larson, our Legacy World Champion. Not the correct title, but the Eternal Weekend Champion. Larson is such a great player, and I already lost against him today. After our good luck, have fun, the chat. Let's play. We are on the play. And I kept this hand. My opponent also kept 7. Okay, let's concentrate here. If my opponent has Force of Will, we can cast Otherworldly Gaze next. My opponent doesn't have Wasteland, so Volcanic Island it is. We cast Faithless Looting. My opponent has a counterspell, Exciting Ponder. That's fine, that is expected. Luckily, he will not have a turn 2 combo again. let's pray for it. Both kept 7 cards. My opponent plays Flooded Strand and passes. So no turn 2 win. That's something. We cast Otherworldly Gaze in our upkeep. We could keep Faithless Looting for next turn. I'd like to have a natural draw here though, but I think it's too crazy to not draw Looting. Next turn we can see 3 new cards with this Faithless Looting. And my opponent will not combo on turn 2 anyway, so... Okay, he has a Surveil Land. They don't want Flooded Strand, that's a good sign. Urza Saga enters the battlefield. And that's it, alright. So we'll dredge 4. No other dredges. Oh, and we had 2 lands on top. Let's cast this Looting. Okay, we have Underground Sea. This is slow, but maybe next turn we can fire this Cabal Therapy right now. Targeting my opponent. I need to be precise here, but my opponent didn't play. I have 2 guesses here. Nadu, because my opponent can play Nadu on turn 2, or Source to Plowshare. I think I'll name Nadu, but either way, let's see. Nadu or Plow. Nadu or Plow. Let's go with Nadu. It was Plow. Oh, this would be a really good guess. Okay, next turn I can take both Plows. Let's hope that my opponent... Okay, he has another fetch land. We'll dredge 6. Unless my opponent top decks... I have Narco and Cabal Therapy. Fortunately, my opponent will probably fire first Source of Plowshares targeting Narco. Now what? We have some options here. I can cast Golgari Thug and then cast Cabal Therapy targeting my opponent, naming Source of Plowshares. I remember in our first match today that my opponent doesn't have Graveyard Hate in his main deck. So no Soul Guide Lanterns, for example. This Urza Saga will probably fetch a Shuko. My opponent has a single 1-on card in his hand. He could play exactly Cephalid Illusionist. This is a game-winning decision because if my opponent has something else, I don't think he has. I think I need to cast Otherworldly Gaze here, trying to hit something good to win the game next turn. And then I only need my opponent to miss Cephalid Illusionist with a single turn, and my opponent had no manipulation, no brainstorms, no pounders, only Urza Saga and a Surveil Land. If I cast Golgari Thug just to force my opponent to discard Source of Plowshares, that's a weak play. If I cast Thassa's Oracle trying to see the future, my opponent will just fire Plow targeting Oracle, because Thassa's Oracle will trigger. So I think the most powerful thing here to try to win and without thinking about how to not lose is to cast Otherworldly Gaze right now. And then we can select the top... Oh, Breakthrough. Breakthrough is a winning card, guys. Breakthrough is our passport to win this game. My opponent has 2 Tundras and 1 Source Plowshares and 1 unknown card. Does he have another Surveil Land? I think so. Let's see. He cracks Windswept Heath for another Surveil Land. They liked the card on top. That's scary. We need 1 turn to win this game next turn. Just 1 turn. My opponent taps Urza Saga, so no constructs. They have Shuko. Okay, my opponent will not show me... Okay, he has Cavern of Souls. So guys, let's think positive here. I don't think my opponent kept Cavern on top. So my opponent probably had the Cephalid Illusionist on top. This was his top deck. So I still think I did the right play. I'm not sure. Maybe... But why my opponent would keep Cavern of Souls on top? That does not make sense. He even named Atog for the Cavern of Souls. Yeah, has the combo. So probably Hedge Maze saw Cephalid Illusionist on top. My opponent has the combo and won the game. That's what this deck is designed to do. A plus B, win. That's unfortunate because I think we did everything right. I think. At least I'm not sad with myself because I misclicked art. It was probably the right call. Now what? Sideboarding against my opponent. On our previous game this tournament, I included Silent Gravestones, right? And True Consign to Memories, I think. Now what? If I remember that game in that match, my opponent had a fast combo with forces to back up. We saw that my opponent plays 3 Fairy Macabre, but we didn't see other cards. Only all of my opponent's graveyard hate cards target, so Silent Gravestone is really good. I wish I had more than 2. Especially on the playing with a full playset of Silent Gravestone last year. Felt so good against Breakfast. Also, oops. Do I do the same sideboard here? 2 Silent Gravestones to Consign to Memory. Maybe I don't include Consign to Memory now that I know that Fairy Macabre cannot be targeted, countered by Consign to Memory. I would do the same. Let's trust that Consign to Memory could win the game in a situation like previous game. Let's mulligan this. Almost there. Okay. This is good. This is reliable. This is even good against counter spells and against target graveyard hate that targets. So yeah, this is good. My opponent also kept 7, so that's scary. We could try a turn 1 here, but I'm not confident, especially because we saw that my opponent has Fairy Macabres. So let's try to not lose the game being super fast here. My opponent kept 7 cards. Let's start with... We'll definitely grab a Volcanic Island here. Let's start with an Otherworldly Gaze that my opponent can counter with Force of Negation. Okay, no forces at least. I don't think we want any of those cards. We want another land, right? Opponent planes? Oh, Ghost Vacuum. My opponent had the Ghost Vacuum or previous match. I don't remember. Maybe I don't remember Ghost Vacuum. Okay, it is a long tournament. It has been a long tournament. Let's cast Otherworldly Gaze in our up. We need another land and a Dredger. Okay, both. Let's put Stinkwood Imp in. Do I keep Cephalid Coliseum? Do I keep both cards on top? No, I think we must go for it, right? We are tempting my opponent to tap Ghost Vacuum here. Or maybe... Yeah, let's keep only Volcanic Island. Opponent taps Ghost Vacuum, okay. We have a window here. We did it right. We have Volcanic Island. And now I'll cast Faithless Looting, holding priority, discarding my hand for red mana. Opponent is thinking here. Do they have force or not? Oh, maybe they have Fairy Macabre. My opponent has Fairy Macabre. We need to find a third Dredger on our top 2 cards to have a chance. Yeah, they have Fairy. They chose Bridge from Below. I don't think this was the right choice there, unless they have something else. Yeah, and we couldn't hit another Dredger. I'll cast Faithless Looting here, of course. Maybe you can hit another thing. No? Okay, so... yeah, against Fairy plus Ghost Vacuum. Maybe my opponent even has something else. This was too much for us. It's not over. We have 2 lands and we have 2 Otherworldly Gazes there. So it's not over. My opponent has only a tapped land on turn 2. He's not comboing. Not over. We have so many good top decks here. Okay, my opponent has Shoko. But my opponent, again, no Brainstorms, no Ponders, and no Surveils. My opponent kept the card on top, but no Surveils. Can they hit the combo naturally? Gravestone is huge here. A little too late. My opponent is tapping Ghost Vacuum, that's fine. A little too late, but let's cast it. Of course we will cast it. This will stop future graveyard hate cards, and also stops my opponent's combo. It's not over. It's not over. Never surrender. What? Oh, I'm telling my opponent. I'm not even mad. The classic Disenchant. It is a good card. It is a good card. Disenchant. Alright. Oldie but goldie, my opponent says. Now what? Now we don't have flashback spells anymore. Careful Study, but we need to hold it, right? For next turn. Ooh. Okay, my opponent can top deck a Cephalid Illusionist at any moment. The Rainforest. I need some water. Tropical Island. Nadu. Okay, my opponent can activate Nadu twice. I mean, trigger Nadu twice. You know what I mean. Now my opponent has Daze and Thassa's Oracle. And they tap Ghost Vacuum targeting Faithless Looting. Alright, because if you can deck a land, and we did. So let's cast Careful Study. My opponent has a Force of Negation, of course. He has. Yeah, guys, it's over. Let's wait one more turn to see what Nadu will draw, but it is probably over now. My opponent has Thassa's Oracle in his hand. That means if he needs one more land to combo with Cephalid Illusionist. One more blue mana. So he targets Shuko twice. Yeah, he has the blue mana. So my opponent now, he can cast Thassa's Oracle from his hand, right? And in response to Oracle's trigger, because my opponent plays with only 1 Oracle, my opponent, in response to that, activate a dozen times Nods and Core. Yeah, guys, this is a powerful deck, and this time my opponent has not only forces, but also 2 good pieces of Graveyard Hate. Yeah, Memory's Journey is there. We can concede here. GG's, what a tournament, guys. What a tournament. This is what I really wanted this purple token here, the Legacy Championship token, so I can enter for my first time. I can enter that great tournament, competitive Legacy tournament. I believe it is a tournament with only 64 people. We also have 7 leaderboard points, 150 chests, 1 collection, 1 foil collection, play points. Guys, I need some rest, I need some water, I need to think, I need to sleep. Tomorrow I will record my final verdict about our tournament today that we played today. Stay there.